presents the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. Hello, everyone. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris here in Bloomington, Minnesota. You might call it a typical November day in this city. It is cold, wet, and windy. And I would think that it's Viking weather. It also means, Johnny, that we'll see a lot of Walter Payton doing his thing.
Yes, we will, Tim. I think for several reasons. Walter Payton has always rushed well against the Minnesota Vikings. He got 182 yards the last time out. And the Vikings are susceptible to the run, and the Bears like to run in this kind of weather. They'll do it. But sooner or later, they've got to face up to the fact that they've got to get that added dimension. They've got to throw the ball. Whether they'll do it today, we'll find out.
Vikings have been throwing the ball with young Tommy Kramer, but they've had problems with the run. They do have their fine rookie running back, Ted Brown, today.
Yes, the Vikings have had problems running, about 2.5, 3 yards per carry. That's not very much. Ted Brown's been out for 2 weeks with a bad knee, but he's the man who can go outside for him. He's the man that can show him the speed, and that's what the Vikings want to increase to their offensive output, and let's see how they do that today with Ted Brown.
All right, John, the Vikings will receive to our right. The Bears kicking off Bob Thomas. The Bears in white to our left, and it's taken by Jimmy Edwards at the 6-yard line of Minnesota. Edwards has running room. Out to the 46-yard line of the Vikings, and Minnesota gets off well. Steve Schubert, number 85, made the tackle on Jimmy Edwards, the return man who had his problems on Monday night against the New York Jets, and he has gotten himself started well here today. Tommy Kramer, the young quarterback from Rice, and the running backs Chuck Foreman and Ricky Young, 44 and 34. The wide receivers Ahmad Rashad. Sammy White, the tight end, is Bob Tucker. First down, Vikings. In your basic excellent field position. In motion, Boyd was the starter at tight end, number 83 rather than Tucker. And Ricky Young carries for the first play, a gain of about 2 yards. The rest of that Vikings offensive front, Steve Riley, Charles Goodrum on the left side, Wes Hamilton, Ron Yeri on the right side, and young Dennis Swilly is the center. Swilly taking over from the retired Mick Tingelhoff, converted from guard, and Bud Grant happy with his play. 2nd and 8, Vikings. Wide left comes Rashad. Wide right is Sammy White. Foreman, the lead back in the eye. Play action. Kramer, deep sideline. 2 men over there. And is it out of bounds? Evidently. Incomplete. Schmidt over on the coverage. Fensick was there doubling, and Sammy White had no chance to catch that ball.
Actually, I think Fensick intercepted the ball, but intercepted it out of bounds. As we look at the Chicago Bear defense, the linebackers, Doug Buffone starting at middle linebacker after a great game last week when he had 2 interceptions, substituting for Tom Hicks, and Buffone has earned another start with Hicks still recovering from a bad case of the flu.
Duncan and Campbell are the linebackers left and right. It is 3rd and 8 for Minnesota. Kramer has the time. Incomplete for Rashad. Hit by Terry Schmidt just as the ball arrived, could not hold on, and the Vikings will have to punt.
That ball might be a little bit slippery. Rashad actually could have made the grab, but he juggled it, and when the ball was slightly in the air, Schmidt came up with a hit to force Minnesota into a punting situation, and I'm sure that the kicking game is going to determine the outcome of this game. It always does between the Vikings and the Chicago Bears.
Great Coleman standing at his own 31, prepared to punt for Minnesota. The deep man is Steve Schubert. Short punt from Coleman. Lands at the 30. Viking bounce. Will be down at the 16-yard line, and that turned out well for Greg Coleman. Darrell Luce was down there to cover for Minnesota, and the Bears will have their first offensive opportunity. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of the telecast without the express written consent of the Minnesota Vikings and the National Football League is prohibited. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris here, just underway on a very wet and windy day in Bloomington, although it does look like it could clear. There's a lot of gray around, but there's also some light sky. On first down, Avellini, incomplete interception. On the tip, it's picked off by Kurt Knopf. Number 25, Kurt Knopf, takes it all the way into the 20-yard line of Chicago. Let's see it again.
And what do you know about that? The first play of the game, the Bears come out throwing, something they haven't done on first down very often. and there was a lot of people there. The collision, right as the ball got there, the ball went into the air, and there was Knopf for the interception. It looked like Bobby Bryant and Hannon were both there to knock the ball up in the air, and the Vikings have gotten the first break of the game.
It was intended for James Scott. He went high in the air, nearly made a real good catch, but could not hold it. Busted play. Kramer with Alan Page in pursuit, and he has him at the 25 for a sack.
There was a mistake there. I think he was trying to hand off to Foreman. They got mixed up on their signals, so Kramer did the only thing he could do was run. And here comes Alan Page, number 82, who runs a lot. He runs marathons, and this is where the speed helped out right there. Great play by Alan Page. As you know, everybody knows, he used to play for the Minnesota Vikings for so long, did so well, and then things went a little bit awry with Coach Bud Grant, and the Bears picked him up on waivers for absolutely nothing, and he's been one of their finest defensive linemen.
2nd and 15. Kramer has lots of time. For White, almost intercepted. That was Virgil Livers, number 24 on the coverage. And he nearly got it right back for the Bears.
And you have to credit Sammy White with a pretty good job of stopping Livers from intercepting. Livers played the pass real well. He gets right in front, and then Sammy White just kind of pulls down on him and prevents him from intercepting the ball. Good play by defense and a good play by White to prevent the interception. As both teams come out throwing the ball, it's not a surprise with Minnesota, but it's a little bit of a surprise as far as the Bears are concerned. Let's see what they do in their second series of downs as the Vikings have it.
5 defensive backs in for the Chicago Bears. Wide right goes Rashad for Minnesota. Sammy White is in the slot. Kramer deep for Sammy White. It's out of bounds and incomplete. The Vikings had 2 men in that area, but the pass was thrown out of bounds in any event. White was open as the shorter man on the pattern, and it brings up 4th down. So the Vikings will have to get a field goal to get something out of this, having made that interception. Kurt Knopf taking it into the Bears 20, and now they will attempt the field goal. Dan Meyer, the ball spotted at the 33-yard line for a 43-yard attempt. The wind is against him. And Dan Meyer gets Minnesota on the scoreboard with the opening 3 points of the game, following the interception by Kurt Knopf. And so the Vikings, with 13:02 remaining first period, lead it 3-0. Well, the Vikings on a 43-yard field goal by Rick Danmeyer have a 3-0 lead. And the deep man for the Chicago Bears is Lenny Walderscheid. Awaiting Dan Meyer's kickoff, and he takes it at the 6-yard line. Walderscheid over the 30 to the 31. Pretty good return. He's stopped by Robert Miller, number 35. And the Bears, who on their first offensive play lost the ball on an interception, will try again. Avellini at quarterback. Dave Williams, the free agent running back, starting for the injured Roland Harper. And Walter Payton, of course. Wide receivers, James Scott, Brian Baschnagel for the injured Golden Richards. Mike Cobb is the tight end. First down, Bears from their own 31. Williams straight ahead to the 35. Picked up 5, maybe 6 yards on the play. McNeil and Seaman, the linebackers, combining to stop him. Williams, the third-year man from Colorado, picked up when the injury struck Harper and Skabinski. There is the Chicago offensive line. Ted Albrecht, Dennis Lecker the tackles, Noah Jackson, Reeve Sorey the guards, Dan Neal at center. 2nd and 5. Chicago, they come out in the I. Baschnagel wide left. Payton hit by Seaman. Loose ball. Seaman tackled him right at the ball. Did Chicago maintain possession? Looks like Payton held onto the ball.
Let's take another look as they go with the draw play. Seaman stays right in there. Dave Williams, number 22, has 2 men to block. He takes one of them, and there's Seaman as Payton is trying to pick his way, and he fumbled last week. This time the ball is jarred loose a little bit late, but the Bears, actually not late, huh? The Bears have had a situation where they don't fumble very much, especially Payton, and now he's fumbled 2 or 3 times in the last game and this game.
He made a great effort to get that ball back. The Vikings missed a golden opportunity to recover. Tom Hannon missed it. Williams has the first down. Williams out to the 44-yard line. And the Bears have their first down of the afternoon. Tom Hannon made the tackle with help from Matt Blair. Miami in front of New England 13-7. Big AFC game there in the second period.
Both of those teams have 5-2 records going into this game.
Kurt Knopf has started in place of the veteran Paul Krause at safety. We're awaiting a report on a reason, if any. Avellini wants to throw. Up the middle, Baschnagel incomplete. Baschnagel slipped, but the ball appeared to be off mark anyway. He was stretching back for the ball, and so it is second down. Turner on the coverage.
Baschnagel starting, of course, for Golden Richards, who has gone to Salt Lake City to have his knee checked out. He could possibly be out for the season, depending on how that examination goes. So the Bears have had their share of injuries, but most teams along the way in the NFL have key personnel out at one time or another.
In this series, the Vikings lead 19-15 with 2 ties. The last 7 in a row here at the Met, however. Incomplete, intended for Williams. Flag down, first of the day. Blair on the coverage. Turner was there, and we'll see who the infraction is against. Against the Chicago Bears. The referee today is Fred Wyant. The umpire, Tom Hensley. The headlinesman, Leo Miles. The line judge, Gene Carabine. The back judge, Jimmy Rosser. The side judge, Bob Rice. And the field judge, Fred Swearingen. Fred Wyant will mark it off, an apparent holding penalty against the Bears. Minnesota leads at 3-0. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris here on a rainy, windy day.
Number 34, offense, second down.
Did he say number 34?
Walter Payton.
Walter Payton.
Greg Latta has come in at tight end for Cobb. Ricky Watts is in at wide receiver. Make it 1 tight end and now 3 wide receivers in on 2nd and 20 for the Bears. Good catch by Dave Williams out of the backfield. Picked up about 7 yards on the play before Tom Hannon. One-handed grab by Dave Williams. Colorado free agent. Picked up from San Francisco.
They brought both backs out of the backfield with Payton going out to the left side and Williams over the middle, and the Vikings immediately had their tendency towards Walter Payton because they're afraid of him. You know, if he catches those passes out in the flat, it's like getting around the horn on an end run. So they're concentrating on him, and Williams may catch a lot of passes out of the backfield today.
3rd and long, 5 defensive backs in for Minnesota. Nate Wright replacing Jeff Seaman, the linebacker. Wide right is Baschnagel. Split left is Scott. Avellini to the short man, Scott, and he's hit. The pass is incomplete. Real tough hit from number 27, Johnny Turner, the second-year man from Miami, their number 2 pick a year ago.
That was a nice hit by Turner as Payton and Latta crisscrossed right there. They were both together, and just a good solid hit by Turner caused the incompletion, and the Bears will be forced to punt. Let's take a look at it. You're going to see there's Latta going across the screen. You see Payton coming from the other way, and there's the hit by Turner. Good defensive play.
Parsons. Good punt. Backing up Edwards to the 8-yard line of Minnesota. Edwards running hard. Flag down. Out of bounds at the 44-yard line. A flag down back at the 20. Brian Baschnagel was the man to knock him out of bounds. Now we see a pair of flags down, and they're coming back near that spot, indicating an infraction against the Vikings on the return.
Probably some kind of clipping or hitting somebody low because, as you know, the new rule this year on those return things, you cannot cut anybody. You've got to hit them high.
51-yard punt by Parsons.
Number 47, receiving team, first down.
Clipping call against Tim Baylor, reserve safety, number 47. First down, Vikings at their own 10-yard line. We'll see it again. 9:51 remaining here in the first period. The Minnesota Vikings 3, the Chicago Bears nothing. First down, Minnesota Vikings at their own 10-yard line following the clipping penalty on the good return by Jimmy Edwards. In the I formation. Split left is Rashad. Straight ahead is Chuck Foreman. Foreman digs out for about 4 yards, maybe 5. Let's see where they spot it. Stopped at the 15-yard line. Hampton was there, and Page, number 82, the ex-Viking for Chuck Foreman. Tucker comes in with a play for Tommy Kramer. Foreman and Ricky Young are the running backs. Out to the left comes Sammy White, number 85, and Rashad goes to the right, number 28. Foreman, off tackle right, diving for the first down and has it. Kerry Schmidt, Doug Buffone on the tackle. First down, Vikings at their own 21-yard line. Good block by Ricky Young, helping out the right side of the Vikings offensive line on the play.
Of course, the big top in Minnesota, the big topic is Chuck Foreman. He's averaged only 2.5 yards per carry the last couple of games, and we'll see when they bring Ted Brown in. Foreman's had some problems. He still catches the ball well, still a good ball player, but just hasn't been what he was in the past, and everybody's wondering.
Slot formation to the right. A lot of mileage on Chuck Foreman. He can still do it like that. Out to the 30-yard line. Pickup of about 9 yards on the play. Hartenstein made the tackle. Another good blocking effort on the right side. And Goodrum pulling out to lead it, number 68.
Yes, and Hartenstein has to come all the way from the other side to make the tackle, or Foreman would have gone for a lot of yards because he had blockers out in front, and the running game is going pretty good for Minnesota in this drive. They've come out from behind their own 10-yard line.
Again, the slot formation right. Second, just a little more than a yard to go. Ricky Young cutting back. Good filling by Fensick. Number 45 really came up, make it Plank and Fensick together. They both got up there to make a real good stop on him. He could have the first down, but the safeties did a real good job.
There really wasn't much that Young could do there. They're using him more in the I formation to give him a little more depth in the backfield so that he can pick his way as he goes to the line of scrimmage, much the same as the Bears do with Walter Payton. But that time there wasn't a heck of a lot of room. But Young, I think, is never, around the country, you don't hear much about him. But one year he caught 88 passes. He plays, never is hurt. I think he has a consecutive game streak that's tops in the NFL right now. He's a good, tough ball player, good blocker.
Well, he blocked for Walter Payton down at Jackson State. And, of course, I guess he's had to play in the shadow of a lot of ball players. The San Diego kept coming up with real good backs when he was there. And, of course, here he comes where one of the genuine superstars, Chuck Foreman, is kind of the main man. But your point is well taken. He's a valuable man. 6'2", 195-pounder now in his 5th year in the National Football League. Can catch it, too. He's got 22 receptions. St. Louis leading Dallas 6-3. 9 minutes to go in the first period there. Kramer, play action. In pursuit is Hampton. And he throws the ball away. Let's see if he gets away with that one.
No, he won't get away with that one, I don't believe.
The flag is down. White was the only man anywhere in the general area as a receiver, and he was cutting back into the center of the field. And Kramer threw it out of bounds.
He did his best to get rid of it, but actually it doesn't even have to be a receiver in the general area anymore. If the officials rule that he was trying to dump the ball, that's it. It's their judgment. And you'll see Hampton, the rookie out of Arkansas, who is improving with every game here, gets a hand on him, gets a hold of him, and then there's the spin around. He says, I don't want the ball anymore. Let me throw.
Intentional grounding, number 9, offense, loss of down, second down.
Second down at the 22-yard line now for the Vikings. So good pursuit by the rookie Hampton, helping the Bears defensively here. Kramer has time for Ricky Young, made a good catch, could not stay on his feet, however, covered immediately by Buffone and picked up about 6 yards. Maybe less, about 5, and it'll be third down and still 15 to go for Minnesota.
Those are the things that don't show up in the stats. That pass was completed. It'll go down as a completion, but it was a pass that forced Young to dive. The object of that pass is to get it to him so he can turn and run, and he had no chance to do that. So it's not really a good pass in my estimation. There goes Young. He's got to make that dive. He has no chance to do anything else with it.
He had a little running room, too, to make the turn upfield. It is third and 15. Kramer, no blockers there. He's on his own, stopped immediately. Osborne was there. And number 23, Lenny Walterscheid, coming up, made the tackle on him, and there was no gain. Fourth down, Vikings.
The Bears go into that prevent. They're pretty tough to throw against sometimes. You get all those backs in there, and Walterscheid was right up there. The Vikings like to throw to their backs a lot, and they have a tendency to do that a lot, especially on third down situations, even if it's long yardage.
Schubert awaiting the punt at the 31-yard line of the Bears. Greg Coleman at the Viking 12. Good punt. Schubert on the fly. Can't get down the sideline. Brings it to the 46-yard line. Bears in good field position. They spot it closer to the 47. Scott Studwell, reserve linebacker number 55, pushed him out. And we have 5:41 now to go here in the first period with the score: the Vikings 3, the Bears nothing. The Vikings and the Bears, Minnesota with a 3-0 lead on a Rick Danmeyer 43-yarder. First down, Chicago. Good field position at their own 46-yard line. Payton. Jeff Seaman was there, and coming up, Bryant, number 20, from the corner, getting him low. Seaman getting him high. Gain of only 2. And you have to say only every time Payton carries for less than 5.
That's only his second carry today, and he was in that I formation. I'll tell you, that's a nice little tip. When you see him in that I formation, you got a pretty good idea that Payton's going to get a little pitch out to the outside. There goes Seaman, number 50. Watch him pick his way through, gets through the blocking, and waiting for Walter Payton, as Noah Jackson couldn't get around there, and Dave Williams both were pulling, but weren't able to really get in on that play and help out much.
Paul Krause in at safety for the Vikings for the first time. Straight ahead, Dave Williams gets about 4 yards. James Duck White made the stop on him. It'll be third and about 4. So Krause evidently not hurt. Bud Grant electing to start Curtin off, but Krause is in there now.
The Vikings were praying for a lot of rain. Bud Grant says the more it rains, the muddier it gets. He says that slows Walter Payton down just that much. You can't blame him, can you?
Not at all. In fact, that when I said to Bud last night the weather forecast was good, I said, gee, sounds like a nice day tomorrow. He said, I hope not. Third and 4. Nate Wright is in as the 5th defensive back for the Vikings. Slot formation right. Mark Mullaney, number 77, taking Avellini back in, spotted at the 42.
Let's take a look at that pass rush as Mullaney gets inside Dennis Lick, right, slick and clean, and makes the tackle. Good play by the Minnesota Vikings. He wasn't even slowed down there as he went to the inside of Dennis Lick that time, rather than normally to the outside you find those defensive ends.
Parsons standing at the Bears 27. Jimmy Edwards at the 15 of Minnesota. Another big punt from Parsons. Edwards from his own 13. Room out that side. Excellent pursuit. Bruce Herron, number 51, reserve linebacker, forced him out at the 16-yard line of the Vikings. Don't forget doubleheader action next week here on CBS, all preceded by the NFL Today. It is first down, Minnesota. Ball at their own 17-yard line. Tom Hicks is in it, linebacker for the first time, replacing the starter Doug Buffone. Of course, Hicks still bothered with the flu, but obviously ready to go, wants to play. Ricky Young gets out to the 20-yard line, picked up 3 yards on the play for the Vikes. And at the bottom of that pile, Hicks is there, number 54, and Alan Page, 82.
Hicks has lost 15 pounds. Watch him take on the block there and then get in on the tackle. He lost 15 pounds with the flu. He's picked up about 5 of it. He's still 10 pounds under his weight, but he didn't look like it on that play, did he, Tim?
Sure didn't. He was eager. Second down, 7 yards to go. Minnesota at their own 20. Left is Rashad. Right is White. Play action. Sammy White has the ball. Is he inbounds? No. Out of bounds. Incomplete.
And if you got to look at the Bears pass rush that time, you could see Alan Page signaling off of his rear which way they were going to do a crisscross on the pass rush. Very interesting signal. He just puts his finger up on his fanny and says, look what I'm going to do. There's Tampa Bay 14-0 over Green Bay. Tampa Bay was 5-2 going in, so the loser of this game, if Tampa Bay goes on to win, would be 3 games out of first place. So this is a big game. The loser's in big trouble.
Ricky Bell and quarterback Doug Williams have the touchdown. Bell on a pass from Williams. Williams on a keeper for the Buccaneers. Timeout call by Minnesota here. With 3:07 to go in the first quarter, Tommy Kramer wants to talk to Bud Grant and his offensive coordinator, Jerry Burns. 3rd and 7 as Kramer has a play that he hopes will work, and it's 3-0 here with 3:07 to go first quarter. Out to the right go both White and Rashad. Rashad in the slot. Young and Foreman are the running backs. We have not seen the rookie Ted Brown as yet. Kramer with lots of time, can't find an open man, and it's batted away. And it might have been Alan Page who got the hand up. It was either Page or Hampton who got a hand up on the ball. How'd you see it, John?
I really didn't see who got the hand up. I would guess Hampton. They had 6 defensive backs that time on coverage, and Kramer just couldn't find anybody open, and the pass blocking finally broke down a little bit, and then a tall hand, and it might have been Hampton because he is very, very tall. No, it was Alan Page.
4th down. Coleman standing at his 5. Bearcat signaled by Walter Scheid at the Chicago Bears 46-yard line. And so once again, Chicago in good field position. They have had the advantage of that win. Parsons' good punting has backed up the Vikings, and they haven't been able to move it. But the Bears, when they get it at midfield, have not been able to move it either. Next week on the CBS Sports Spectacular, well, I take a little trip to the prison again, Johnny. I'm going to be there at Rahway State Prison in New Jersey to watch James Scott and Jerry Celestine. Should be an outstanding light heavyweight fight. Also the world's strongest man, part of the CBS Sports Spectacular next Saturday. First down, Bears. Walter Payton's going to throw. Deep. Is Bashnagel open? He has it. Bashnagel, touchdown. Payton to Bashnagel, and there are no flags down. Well, some razzle-dazzle for the Bears on first down.
And they finally did it after all these years with Walter Payton, who can throw the ball very well. He threw this ball off balance. There's the pitch out. Bashnagel downfield. It was all by himself. Now there he's holding it with one hand and just gives it a heave, and it was perfect. Bashnagel probably said, hey, please, please, let me catch it. Please, please. He got it into the end zone. Touchdown, Chicago Bears. And if you don't think that's going to help Walter Payton on his end runs, I'll tell you, you got another thing coming.
That is for sure. And, you know, the young cornerback, Johnny Turner, had Bashnagel downfield for about 15 yards, and then when he saw Payton with the ball, he came up to play the run. So it worked just the way they designed it on the blackboard. Thomas's point after is good. And with 2:46 to go here in the first quarter, the Bears are in front 7-3. Let's watch it again.
There's Dave Williams, number 22, out in front, helped out a little bit, and there was the pass, an excellent pass, considering he had to throw that really off balance, didn't get a chance to set himself. And Brian Bashnagel, who has done very well for the Bears this year, he does great on the specialty teams, and now he's been called upon to play a lot more this year, and he'll do a good job. Because it was a surprise, and it was kind of what you call a wide open play. They threw it up and got the touchdown, so the Vikings are going to have to come from behind.
A 54-yard touchdown play, Payton to Brian Bashnagel. And the kickoff taken by Edwards inside his 10. Edwards, good return out to the 35-yard line. Walter Scheid, number 23, made the tackle.
Oakland leads the Jets 10-7 at the half. The Raiders are starting to come on a little bit. They're now 4-3 and lead this game after a kind of a slow start.
So Minnesota starting from their own 35 off Edwards' return. 2:36 remaining here in the first period. Still playing against the wind. Let's see if they go to the air here now that they're behind. Ricky Young. Nowhere to go. Luckenstern, Hartenstein stack them up after a gain of 2, maybe 3 yards.
The Bears strung that out very well. The Vikings are having trouble getting around the horn on the end runs.
Well, the rain continues to fall, but much more lightly than it did at the kickoff. And it must be blowing the other way because it's not coming in on us anymore.
And Kramer's operating against about, what, a 20-mile-an-hour wind, would you say?
The wind is truly the factor now. And, of course, it's chilly. Temperatures in the 40s now. In motion comes Bob Tucker, the tight end. Kramer for Sammy White. Coverage by Schmidt. Good catch by Sammy White. First down, Vikings at the 45-yard line of Chicago.
Let's take a look at the replay. As you see the fake of the hand up the middle, there's number 54 heading for that deep zone, and Kramer just rolls out and throws it right on the dime to Sammy White, and the footing is very slippery over there. He comes down very close there with the 2 feet. There's the wind may have died down. Maybe it's only 17.5 miles per hour.
White did a good job getting his other foot down. He knew he was right over the sideline, and he just tramped that second foot down to make it a completed pass. First down, Vikings. Foreman running hard off tackle right. Got about 7. Pulled down from behind by Doug Plank, number 46. They're going to give him about 6 on the play. Let's call it 2nd and 4, and good hard running by Chuck Foreman.
If he keeps playing this way, Ted Brown won't get off the bench.
Foreman came into this game with only 167 yards rushing and 69 carries. Had his problems getting started this year. Cardinals continue to lead Dallas 6-3 first period. 2nd down, 4 to go, Vikings. Ricky Young. Flag down as Young went right behind his center Swilly and the left guard Charles Goodrum.
Hole before, but somebody is guilty of holding, and that's going to hurt the Vikings, put them back in their own territory.
Young had the first down yardage. It's all for naught. They come back out near midfield to the 49-yard line of Chicago.
Holding, number 68, offense. 2nd down.
Charles Goodrum got called for holding. Ron Yeri had 3 holding penalties last week, so I bet he's going to be extra careful. But now the Vikings are in a throwing situation, 2nd and about 14.
No wonder that was such a good hole behind Goodrum. Out to the right goes Rashad. Wide left is Sammy White. Split-backs. Foreman slipped. Foreman was through the hole, lost his balance. Got about 4. Hartenstein forced him inside, but he just fell of his own volition.
And Alan Page helped out there as he was inside and reached back with an arm to help trip him up. Let's watch Alan Page, and you'll see Hartenstein below him. There's Page, 82, coming in. Now he's blocked, and then now he's going to go down and get an arm down there and help trip up Foreman right there. He almost takes Page's arm with him.
Yep, he got a hand on him for sure. 3rd down, 11 to go. Kramer, lots of time. Open is White, can't hold on. Slippery turf out there from this range, and when he had to go back a stride to get that ball, he just lost his balance and lost the ball.
Too bad for the Vikings, because White had put on a good move as he has forced the defenders down. He could put a good move on Virgil Livers there and was open, just did not hang on to the ball.
4th down, Vikings. Walter Scheid is the deep man for the Chicago Bears, standing at the 10-yard line. Greg Coleman will punt it, number 8, from the Viking 40. Coleman, real good athlete. Played for the Cleveland Browns. He can run, he can pass.
Here they come.
They got a good rush on him. A flag is down. It was a little too good. A short punt goes out of bounds at about the 33-yard line of Chicago. Coleman, who was flattened on Monday night by the New York Jets, gets it again. Wentford Gaines, number 36, flying in from outside in the attempt to block, made the contact with him.
They had the rush. He'll come from the left side as Coleman puts his punt, leans a little bit towards that, rights his right side, and there he catches his foot and really clobbers him.
Running into the kicker, number 36, defense, 1st down.
Big play in this close football game. Time winding down first period.
Here comes the rush up the middle. No penetration there, but just from the outside. And actually, Gaines had the right angle. He came across in front, but Coleman got that leg out there and was able to get it hit. And it's a 1st down for Minnesota.
Ted Brown, the rookie from North Carolina State, is in for the first time. In motion is White behind the ball. Brown off right tackle. Got about 5. Muckenstern, number 58, made the tackle. And the crowd applauding the appearance of Ted Brown. Brown, 183 yards rushing, a better than 5-yard average in his rookie season. Coming off a knee injury, he's missed the last 2 games. That will complete play here in the first quarter. Stadium with the score, the Chicago Bears 7, the Minnesota Vikings 3. Tom Hicks can continues at middle linebacker. Doug Buffone had started, but Hicks probably said, hey, I've recovered from the flu, guys. I want to get back in there. I feel great. 2nd and 5, Vikings. They are at the Chicago Bears 37-yard line. Brent McClanahan, they'll make it Ted Brown, number 23. No gain on that play. It was Muckensturm again, number 58, making the tackle on the rookie. 23 is Ted Brown, 34 Ricky Young, the running backs now for the Vikings. In comes Bob Tucker with the play. Out goes Voigt. And Gaines and Wallerscheid come in the passing situation for the Bears.
And as you can see, Kramer completed 28 out of 48 passes last week, but he's had some interceptions, 12 interceptions this year. And here's a passing situation into a Bears zone, obviously.
1 linebacker, Muckensturm, 5 defensive backs. The rush is on. He just gets it away, and it's incomplete. Another good hit on Rashad. This time it was Wentford Gaines with the pop. Rashad could not hold on.
Here he comes, the Baryshnikov of football. Down there, comes back, slips a little, but that's 2 or 3 times that the Vikings have kind of juggled the ball just before they've been hit, and then they lose control. So they got to be more like glue. Keep that ball in there. Good play by Gaines.
7 passes against the Jets, but he dropped a couple that he normally wouldn't drop. And despite the hits, Rashad usually holds on to those kind. Coleman's punt. Lands at the 5, goes into the end zone. It'll be a touchback. And the Chicago Bears will start from their own 20-yard line when play resumes. 14:07 to go first half, 7-3 Bears. Randy Holloway has come in at right defensive end, number 75, replacing the 41-year-old veteran Jim Marshall. First down. Bears from their own 20. Payton squirts his way for about 6 yards, maybe 7. Linebacker Matt Blair, number 59, made the stop on him. Jim Marshall, I mean, that is incredible. 20 years in the National Football League. He's 41 years of age. I mean, it's just for him to be still playing is really remarkable. He's a starter on this team, just getting a little rest now. The old man gets a little relief from young Randy Holloway, second-year man from Pittsburgh. 2nd and a little less than 3 for the Chicago Bears. Oh, Duck White, number 72, bought that bark signal by Avellini.
Did you see Noah Jackson there?
They may call it against the Bears for pulling them over. And they do. Avellini unhappy with that. Sorry, Johnny.
I was going to say, did you see Noah Jackson when the White made the contact? He fell back like he had been hit with a 2,000-pound truck, and he was barely touched.
Well, he was trying to get the call the other way.
Quarterback.
Avellini did such a great job with that signal calling, he got himself a penalty.
Look at the right part of your screen. There it is. Oh, no. Gosh, you hurt me.
They called it on the quarterback, Avellini. 2nd and 8. Five-yard line. Walter Payton, you know, this week in the Minnesota newspapers, Fred McNeil, fine linebacker of the Vikings, was quoted on playing against Walter Payton. He said it's almost spiritual. He manages to play above the limits of the body. He's in a ballet out there. He awakens my senses just being on the same field with him.
I think McNeil's in the wrong field. He should be a poet.
I tell you, that's excellent. That's lovely use of the language by McNeil, but he says, I still try to keep track of him out there. High formation for the Bears on first down from their own 35. Running hard, close to the first down yardage. Williams has got at least 9, and we'll see where they spot it. Well, we've had some problems with your picture. And at the moment, we don't see it either on our monitors, so we'll give you a radio description until our technicians get the picture back. We hope it's not gone long. It is just short of the first down at the 45-yard line of Chicago. Dave Williams hard running for a gain of about 9.5. Second down. Split right is Scott. Left is Baschnagel. Williams ran into his own blocker, cuts back well. To the 50 over midfield. Down to the 40-yard line of Minnesota. Ran right into his blocker, Reeve Sorey, but then cut it back the other way with some excellent running for a first down to the...
Well, it really helps the Bears situation when the fullback can get some yards for you. Williams, as a compliment to Walter Payton, they use Payton, everybody keys on him, and you get it to Williams, a man who can run, and you're going to get some yards. Williams got the call over Robin Earl this week because Earl has had trouble holding on to the ball.
Out left comes Scott, wide right Baschnagel. Williams has 38 yards rushing so far. Payton with 25. To give us to Payton. Running to the right. Can't make the turn. Drop the ball. Vikings have it. It looked like James White caught that ball in midair as Payton, trying to make the turn, was tackled. Actually just hit. And the ball came right out of his hands into the arms of James Duck White. Vikings have a first down at their own 39-yard line. We have 12:25 remaining here in the first half. Minnesota will have first down from their own 40 following that fumble recovery, and we'll show it to you now.
We've had some technical problems, but we managed to get this one for you as Walter's carrying it with one hand out there, and it was Mulaney who forced the fumble, reached in and actually deliberately forced it, and there's the recovery in midair by White, and the Vikings have the ball. And here Walter Payton, who once carried 189 times without fumbling in a row, and now he has I guess 3 in the last 2 games.
Outstanding show of athletic ability by Duck White, the big defensive lineman, showing his agility and getting over there to pluck it out of midair. It is Minnesota. First down. Play action and back the other way. Incomplete for Sammy White. Kramer really drilled that ball. Schmidt was there on the coverage just a hair late. White could not hold on to it.
I would say that the Vikings have had 5 or 6 passes so far today that they could have caught. So that really hurts an offensive cause when you can't hang on to the football.
White and Rashad, 2 normally reliable, in fact superior receivers in this National Football League. Bears send in 2 extra defensive backs as Hicks goes out and Campbell goes out. 2nd and 10. New England leading Miami 14-13 in the 3rd period. What a ball game there. Kramer, ball was tipped. Looked like his arm was knocked as he released it, and that's incomplete. Good rush from the Bears.
A very good play by Kramer. Actually, he saw Muckensturm number 58 coming from his right side there, and he just got rid of the ball real quick because Muckensturm was coming on the blitz, and he just threw it and got out of trouble, prevented the sack.
3rd down. Play comes in with Stu Voigt. Washington leading Philadelphia 14-0 in the 3rd period. It was a tough football team. Washington really having themselves a fine season, and Joe Theismann, one of the big reasons for it. 3rd down. Slot formation has time. Incomplete, intended for Rashad. And the Vikings having problems with the pass attack. Dropped passes. Some slippage on the part of receivers running routes on this wet turf, and just not a whole lot of success so far. 4th down with 12:10 remaining here in the first half. Benny Walterscheid, the deep man. Coleman has the wind behind him, gets a good kick away. Walterscheid from his 20. To the 34-yard line. Jim Huff, number 51, reserve guard, made the tackle for the Vikings. The Bears will start first down from their own 34. Well, and particularly the Vikings have been dropping the ball. It is raw, it is windy, and it is wet. Straight ahead is Dave Williams. Running hard for the Bears. Looks to have the first down yardage. Dave Williams from Colorado. After the injuries to Harper and Skabinski. Little fumbleitis for Robin Earl. Williams getting the call, and he's going to be tough to dislodge the way he's running, Johnny.
Yes, they've been talking about getting an added dimension for the Bears. Maybe that added dimension will be the other running back, and rather than the passing game. We'll see.
First down, Bears at their own 45. Avellini to throw. Incomplete, intended for James Scott. He was well covered there by Bobby Bryant, and the linebacker Blair ranging back to help out.
There's the man that the Chicago Bears would like to reestablish as a threat, James Scott, who has caught only 3 passes in the last 3 games, and he is an excellent deep receiver. And this has been the big problem. The Bears trying to establish some kind of a passing game. The Vikings trying to establish some kind of a running game.
Ricky Watts is in at wide receiver, bringing in the play for Chicago, the rookie from Tulsa. He goes wide to the right. Bashmagel in the slot right. Payton all the way down inside the 35-yard line of Minnesota. Just dropped that shoulder and ran through a man on the corner.
You talk about punishing the defenders. Watch Payton there on this draw. Good block by Reeve Sorey. He slips out here. Watch Matt Blair, 59, right here. He doesn't even know where he is as he spins around, and Payton just turns it on. Finally, Turner gets over there to push him, grab a hold of him, slow him down so that you get the pursuit. And finally, McNeil makes the tackle. Great individual running by Walter Payton with some good blocking by the interior of the line at the line of scrimmage.
That was Jeff Seaman that he just popped with his shoulder to get loose. First down, Chicago. Payton again. Duck White thought he had him. Instead, 5 yards later, he's down inside the 30. Matt Blair, the linebacker, came back to get him with help from the corner, Turner. Cincinnati leading Cleveland 14-7. Third quarter of that game. Pete Johnson just scored for the Bengals. 2nd and 5, Chicago. Williams, good hold. Batters his way inside the 25-yard line, has another Bears first down. Kurt Knopf, the safety playing in Krause's spot, made the tackle. Holloway came back to help out, number 75. Good hole behind Noah Jackson and Ted Albrecht.
And there's the black block by Noah Jackson. As you see, Walter Payton has to come through there, right through the middle of the line, even when he doesn't carry.
Bears on the move. They lead at 7-3, and they've got a drive going here. Into scoring territory at the 24. First down. High formation. Williams the lead back. Long count from Avellini. Motion on the Bears line, and they wanted Payton to throw again. But the flags and the whistle came before the play could get underway. One of those interior linemen of the Bears got off a little early.
I think it was Reeve Sorey, the right guard, moved a little bit too soon. Maybe somebody else along with Sorey. But that puts the Bears into a different situation.
Number 69 offense.
Sorey it is, and Sorey he is.
Sorey is sorry.
1st and 15.
Those end runs should really be opening up. They've had some success now with those pitches to Payton since he threw that pass.
Looked like he was ready to throw again, Johnny. He had that ball up like he was going to throw the ball. And whether they come right back with that play, having made it so visible, we'll see. No, they don't. Instead, it's a draw. Payton batters his way back for about 5, maybe 6 yards, near the original line of scrimmage where James White, number 72, puts the stop on him. Also there was Matt Blair, number 59.
He is so strong. He gets those extra yardage, and a part of Payton's success develops over the years. He's so hard to get a hold of and bring. Tacklers sometimes become tentative. They want to make sure they get a hold of him, which makes them a little bit less aggressive, and he gets the extra yards and gets away from it. And I think that's one reason he doesn't take as much punishment sometimes as you might think he does, because the tacklers are reaching and grabbing to make sure of a tackle.
Slot left for the Bears. Bashmagel in it. Scott wide left. 2nd and about 12. Avellini complete to the tight end, Cobb. Cobb to the 5. Knocked out of bounds at the 4-yard line. Kurt Knopf, number 25, took both Cobb and one of the officials out downfield. And the official getting up slowly, but he is apparently all right.
And the tight end comes all the way across. You saw him shoot across the screen. All the way to the other side of the field, was wide open, almost got into the touchdown, but is finally brought down by Knopf. Michael Cobb, who's had some problems hanging onto the ball. He hung onto that one, and the Bears have a chance to take a big lead.
That's only his 2nd reception of the season, Mike Cobb. And that line judge who took the hit down there was Leo Miles, number 3. He's up and all right. We're happy to report the Bears inside the 5. First down. Williams stacked up, got maybe a yard. Holloway, number 75, slicing in from right end, getting help in the middle from everybody piling up low.
And there they are, piling up low. And this is where the Vikings are their strongest. They had a great goal line stand, Tim, as you know, from last week against the Jets. And a lot of it is because Matt Blair and those linebackers get off the line of scrimmage a little bit and can time it when the back comes to the line. So the Bears may be aware of that, and they may try and cross them up and go more off tackle or to the end run.
Second and goal, the ball at the 4. Split backs. Williams on the left, Payton on the right. Double tight end, and the man on the wing as well to block. Payton in motion, Williams. Got a couple. Jeff Seaman, number 50, put the hit on him at about the 2-yard line. That'll bring up third down. Vikings crowd here at Bloomington getting behind their defense.
With Payton in motion to the outside, becoming a wingback, they went with Williams, and he got a couple of yards. So now we're down to the key situation, a little over the 2-yard line, and it'll be third down and 2. What do you call here?
Baschnagel brought the play in. Let's see what they call. I gotta like Payton wide. That's my guess. I gotta like Payton, period, because everybody does. Rolling is Avellini.
Look at this.
Trying to find an open man. Touchdown! Walter Payton becomes the pass receiver and has figured in both of the scoring plays, passing and catching.
And how about this? Avellini coming out on the option, and he looked and looked and the intended initial receiver. As you see, Noah Jackson out there throws a good block for Avellini to give him time to throw the ball, and there was the alert Payton into the end zone for the touchdown, and Chicago leads.
Good blocking for Avellini out there too, and he was especially sharp on that play. Thomas with a point after really nails it. And the Chicago Bears, with 7:08 now remaining here in the first half at Bloomington, lead the Vikings 14-3. They've got a long way to go. Midway through the second period, Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris at Bloomington, Minnesota. The Bears in white to our right, Minnesota in their purple uniforms to our left. 14-3. Avellini's 2-yard touchdown pass to Walter Payton. This is Edwards. Good run with a flag down. He got all the way out to the 44-yard line. The Bears went 66 yards in 10 plays. An outstanding drive with varied play calls. Holding is the signal against the Vikings on the kickoff return. They used up 4:52 on the clock as well, in taking their 14-3 lead, and the ball is marched back to the 22-yard line. Another Viking mistake.
Holding number 82, receiving team. First down.
Number 82 is Robert Steele, a reserve wide receiver, guilty of the holding.
Did you know the Bears have not beaten Minnesota up here since 1971? 7
consecutive victories at home by the Vikings over the Bears. First down, Vikings. Ted Brown. Straight ahead. Brown got about 4 yards to the 25-yard line. Gary Campbell and Jerry Muckenstern, pinching in from the outside linebacker spots, made the tackle.
And Tom Hicks was in on that tackle. He was trying to yank the ball loose, a la Dick Butkus. Now the Bears will be alert for the pass, and Kramer has a job. The Bears use all kinds of zone defenses.
Across the front, Hampton, Osborne, Page, Hartenstein for the Bears. Slot formation right now. Out of the slot goes White in motion. They come back to the short side. Ricky Young with 2 blockers in front. Ricky Young has a first down out to the 38-yard line. A flag is down. Ron Yary blocking on Tom Hicks, and that's where the flag was dropped. Let's see what the call is. Young had the first down yardage on a good play, screening back against the grain. Referee Fred Wyant with the call shortly. Let's see the play.
I think it is going to be number 73. Now here comes Young out on the screen. It's set up nicely. It was a two-man screen. Let's watch 73, Jan Yeri, and see if he does indeed hold.
Holding, number 73.
Well, we can't really see it on the replay, but the call was there, and the Vikings will be penalized, and the first down goes all for naught. That's 4 for Yeri in last game and this game.
Yes, he had 3 against the Jets Monday night. You know, I always hate to question the veteran players getting up in age, and maybe, you know, they just got to do that a little bit more against some of the big younger guys they're facing, and can become a problem for some of those vets. He's in his 12th year from USC. One of the all-time greats in this league at offensive tackle. Kramer nearly slipped and fell. Got the pass off. Incomplete, intended for Young. Flag down in the backfield. Buckensturm and Plank on the coverage. Another drop by the Vikings.
This may be against the Bears.
Kramer took a pretty good pop back there, and he nearly fell down on that slick turf. Made a good effort to recover and get the ball away. So the Vikings get a penalty back after taking the one to Yeri.
It may have been against Dan Hampton hitting late.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, first down.
Well, they didn't say on who, but it looked like him. We'll see on our replay, hopefully, who was first in here.
And there's 99 coming in. Can't really tell, but I can tell this, that he put his hands out here and could not quite hang on to the ball. Here's a better look. Maybe we'll find out now after Kramer releases the ball, and they're going to call it on Hampton.
Yep.
He came in there and gave him a pretty good shot.
All right, back live. Ted Brown. Good play. Muckensturm sliding off the block, pulling down the rookie running back. Gain of about 4 for Brown.
You're exactly right, Tim. It was a real good play by Muckensturm because he had Goodrum coming out on him. There's the Viking. Look at that. How'd you like to get a horn like that?
They might send him in here the way things are going.
Let him be the lead blocker and put his head down.
Second down and 6. 14-3. The Bears lead it. 5:37 remaining here in the first half of play. Vikings have been unable to get a sustained offense going. Their 3 points came off a turnover, an interception on the Bears' first offensive play by Kurt Knopf. Deep for White. He's open. Sammy White. Touchdown. Beautiful pass from Kramer to Sammy White. And the Vikings jump right back into it.
Well, he didn't drop that one. That pass was right there, and he took it in. Good pass protection for Kramer to throw it, and it was perfect as he got a step on Virgil Livers. He actually beat double coverage. There goes the ball, and there he goes. There's Fensick on the short side, underneath, and he is gone, and Livers cannot hit him in time. The Vikings are back in the ball game, 55 yards.
Super play, Tommy Kramer to Sammy White. White can beat a lot of secondaries, and he was in full stride, and Kramer put it right on the money. Dan Myers' point after is good. So, striking quickly, having difficulty getting any kind of a drive going, they go to the big play and come up with it. Kramer to White, and it's 14-10. Next week on the season, the big play have closed the gap to 4. The Bears have had a big play. Peyton passing to Brian Baschnagel, 54 yards for their first touchdown. Dan Myers kickoff, taken at the 8-yard line by Walterscheid, coming straight up the field. Walterscheid gets out to the 35. We've had good kickoff returns by both teams today. Kurt Knopf, number 25, made the tackle.
And all touchdowns today have come via the pass. Who would have thunk it before today?
Dallas has gone in front of St. Louis, Johnny, 17-6. Roger Staubach with 2 touchdown passes. Billy Joe Dupree and Tony Hill in the second period. They've got 2:12 remaining in the first half. First down, Bears at their own 35-yard line. Kramer, short drop, quickly out to Baschnagel. He picked up about 7 on the play before being forced out by Johnny Turner, the cornerback number 27. Matt Blair.
Good call. First down pass out there where they had a one-on-one situation. If Baschnagel had gotten by Turner, he had nothing but running room. So the Bears had a situation on first down where you can more or less dictate the type of coverage. You're going to get more honest coverage on a first down passing situation.
Second. 1 yard to go for the first. Payton and Williams are running backs. Williams does not have the first down. Slicing through the left side defensively, James White. Hold him down, and no gain on the play. Might have lost a half a yard. Well, let's call it no gain. Still 3rd and a yard. Cobb and Latta both in, double tight ends here as they try to get this short one for the first down. Avellini has it. First down, Bears to their 47-yard line. 4:20 to go here in the first half. James Scott and Ricky Watts come in at wide receivers. One of the tight ends will leave. Latta goes out. Dallas, we just gave you their score with 2 touchdown passes by Staubach. Roy Green of the Cardinals has just returned a kickoff, 108 yards. It is now 17-13.
108
in front. Avellini going for Watts. It's overthrown. Missed everybody. Hannon was back there deep on the coverage. Mullaney putting the rush on for the Vikings at the line of scrimmage.
Did you say 108 yards?
I guess he started way back.
Yeah, I guess so. 2 yards from the end line, and he decides to go.
It's a good thing he scored.
Yeah, it's a good thing he scored. He might have been playing for somebody else.
The Chicago Bears brain trust. That is Neil Armstrong in the middle of your screen talking to rookie wide receiver Ricky Watts, number 80. Armstrong, of course, former assistant here under Bud Grant. 2nd and 10. Draw play, but Payton is met right at the line of scrimmage. The Vikings really came off the ball. Make it Williams. And they were in the backfield almost at the time Williams got the ball.
This is what you call an unsuccessful draw. Let's see how the Vikings did it. Boy, Sutherland was in there. Everybody. White was there. The play did not work. There's Bud Grant. I wonder if he went hunting the other day.
Yes, he did. He was out hunting yesterday. Saturday's hunting day after the morning meetings and so on. Right out near Metropolitan Stadium here. Got some ducks, he told me, and had some for dinner last night. 3rd down. Little Statue of Liberty, Payton, and he is just, look at this guy get out of that. I mean, there was nothing but purple shirts all around him, 5 yards deeper, and he wound up gaining a couple of yards. Blair finally the man to pull him down.
They tried a little fancy-do here, kind of a Statue of Liberty, and Payton gets away from 1, 2, 3, 4, and finally goes down. It's just, he's uncanny.
It still brings up 4th down as the Vikings came up with 2 strong defensive plays. Edwards, the deep man. Parsons hits it from his own 33. Short punt against the wind. Bears bounce over the 20-yard line to the 18. It'll be spotted there. Walterscheid and Tim Baylor got the elbows up against each other a little bit. No harm done. No harm, no foul. The Viking looks on. So Minnesota will start. 1st and 10 from their own 18. 2:11 to go here in the first half. Bears lead at 14-10. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris with the action from Bloomington. The rain has stopped, or if it's still raining, it's such a fine drizzle we can't see it affecting the play here. It is still windy and cold. Ted Brown met by Tom Hicks, the middle linebacker. Got a couple on the play. Brown, 5'10", 200-pound rookie from North Carolina State. Coming off a bruised knee. Missed the last couple of games. The 2-minute warning is sounded, with the Bears leading 14-10. 2 minutes to go here in the first half. Raw, windy day in Bloomington, Minnesota. The weather was quite pleasant yesterday. was supposed to be fairly nice today, but turned out wet, rainy, windy, altogether unpleasant. And that has been a factor somewhat for the Minnesota Vikings pass attack in this first half. Several dropped balls, but Kramer connecting to Sammy White for the big one to pull them back to 14-10 here in the second quarter after their offense had sputtered to that point. They have first down at their own 19-yard line. High formation. Play action. Kramer. Sideliner. Incomplete for Rashad. Livers on the coverage may have got a hand on the ball.
It was slightly deflected by Tom Hicks going back into his drop zone, and he deflected the pass, or it would have been incompleted. It would have been completed, I should say. As Tommy Kramer waits for the play to come in. The Vikings, as you mentioned, Tim, use their tight ends, so we have a 3rd down and 8 situation. And let's see what the call is. Will it be Ahmad, Sammy White, or the draw? Ted Brown.
3rd and 8, exactly. I think I gave them an extra down. It is 3rd down. They had the 2-yard gain prior to the 2-minute warning. Vikings have yet to convert a 3rd down in this football game in 7 tries. Shot wide open. Loose ball. Vikings recover. So it appears. We'll wait till they dig it out. Rashad made the catch and then dropped it on the hit. It is picked up by Jim Huff.
Alan Page almost had it for Chicago, but Huff came in there and outfoxed him for it. Boy, was Rashad open. A lot of room there given by Schmidt there as he was going back into his zone. Here comes the hit as Virgil Livers knocked the ball loose.
Wes Hamilton, number 61.
Hamilton got it, but it was Alan Page who almost recovered it for the Chicago Bears.
First down for the Vikings. Slot formation right. Wide right is Rashad. In the slot is Sammy White. 1:35 remaining first half. Kramer. Intercepted. Schmidt. Yes. Terry Schmidt picking it off for the Bears. Intended for Rashad or possibly Sammy White. He kind of split those receivers and wound up hitting Schmidt with it.
And Schmidt was as surprised as anybody because you can see the 2 Vikings and the ball was thrown right to Schmidt. Terry Schmidt got it, said, "I'll take it, give it to me," as White and Rashad make sure of the tackle. But there was a cross up there. It was either just a terribly thrown pass or somebody didn't turn the right way. Maybe he expected Rashad to do a hook rather than turn to the outside. But regardless, it's the Bears ball in Viking territory, and that's a big play.
Schmidt made a real good catch. It was nearly grounding, but he managed to keep that ball off the grass and make it a good interception. So the Bears with first down at the 48 of Minnesota. Complete out the left side to James Scott. He'll be short of the first down, a gain of about 8 yards to the Viking 40. Timeout called. Fred McNeil made the tackle. There's the play. 1:21 remaining in the first half.
We'll see.
Second down and 2 yards to go following this timeout. The ball at the Minnesota 40-yard line. Wide right goes Bashnagel. Latta is in at tight end number 88. Split left is James Scott. Payton. Some to the 32-yard line. Hurry up offense. Matt Blair on the tackle. Bears keep it going. Time ticking to 1:08. Cavallini looking downfield and intercepted. Tom Hannon. Hannon returning well. Look at him run. Hannon, 1 man to beat it. Albrecht made the tackle on him out at the 37-yard line. Outstanding running by Tom Hannon. One of the young defensive backs who worked his way into this lineup. It's his 3rd year out of Michigan State, a 3rd pick in 1977. Boy, he showed some broken field running.
Yes, he did. The pass was intended for James Scott. He came off the coverage and then did a nice job of running, and this game has turned around. Now the Vikings have a chance to get on the board. As Hannon cuts back, Scott goes for the arm tackle rather than flying for him for the tackle, and Hannon almost broke this. He's hurt down on the field.
Albrecht was the man to stop him. Had he got by him, he might have gone the distance.
Okay, now let's check. Avellini had plenty of time, but he couldn't find anybody open, and finally throws, and you see Hannon drop off with Kraus coming from the other side. Kraus could have intercepted if Hannon had not. And then here is where an offensive man is not used to making the tackle. As you see, that missed tackle, and there's one little hand shot by James. Come on, James. And finally, Ted Albrecht makes the tackle.
Boy, it was that second shot, I think, that got him in the back with a helmet that was one that really rocked him. But he's up. Tom Hannon heading for the Minnesota bench, albeit slowly. But he made an outstanding catch, an outstanding run. And I think an ill-advised pass from Avellini there, Johnny, that there was traffic down there deep. But, of course, you're at this point, under a minute, you're not expecting that kind of a return even on an interception. Hannon made a big play because they've still got lots of time, 52 seconds.
And part of it is the Bears have to learn how to throw the ball. They're going to go through some problems. They're going to have some interceptions. Avellini has been prone to the interception throughout his career, but they have thrown so seldom this year, especially since Vince Evans got hurt or had the sickness that he has, that they're going to have to learn how to pass in these kind of situations, and they're going to have some interceptions in the process. Now it's the Vikings' turn.
Slot right. Sammy White in the slot. Doubles Rashad. Kramer swings it out for Ricky Young. Dropped the ball. They have had a lot of drops today here in the first half. The Vikings. 47 seconds left first half.
The receivers nowadays depend so much on their hands. He had enough time there to shift his body and catch it in the stomach, because anytime you depend on your hands, if it goes through, there's nothing to stop the ball. And it was thrown kind of hard, but he had a man-for-man situation out there. He had one man, Muckensturm, to beat if he catches this pass. But he just puts his hands out there, and it's gone. Use that stomach. I don't know why. Have you noticed in the NFL the last 3 or 4 years, more and more drop passes?
Johnny, there ought to be more you old wide receivers on these coaching staffs. Terry LeCount is in, number 80, at wide receiver for the Vikings. Kramer under pressure from Hampton. Out of bounds. Hampton got a hold of that jersey, and Kramer could not get upfield. He really just wanted to get out of bounds once the heat was on to stop that clock. 41 seconds remaining. The ball at the 32-yard line now. Loss of about 5, maybe 6 yards on the play.
Dan Hampton, their Bears' #1 draft choice, number 99, out of Arkansas, and he's just a growing boy. He's 21 years old. He's already weighs about 260, 6'5", something like that, and he hasn't even matured yet.
Well, and they also have another rookie, Al Harris, out of Arizona State, second pick this year. They think very highly of. Chuck Foreman is back in, so 2 fine young defensive ends for the Bears. Bodes well for the future. Kramer on 3rd down.
Uh-oh. Right there.
Kramer incomplete, intended for LeCount, number 80. Terry LeCount. 4th down, and Minnesota, with 36 seconds left in the half, will punt the football.
We're hitting a lot of action in that last minute and 121 seconds.
14-10, the Bears hold the lead. Lenny Walterscheid is the deep man. Greg Coleman standing at the Vikings 18-yard line. Coleman with the wind, good punt. Walterscheid from his 24, hit immediately. Scott Studwell, number 55, got him at the 29-yard line. And the Bears, with 27 seconds left, will get a couple of more shots at another score. Tonight on 60 Minutes, California is about to crack down on a doctor whom the state says is involved in what could be the biggest case of medical fraud ever. But the doctor is still practicing. How come? Well, I'm curious too. Let's all watch 60 Minutes tonight at 7 Eastern Time here on CBS. First down, Bears. Scott goes wide right. Bashnagel left. Mike Cobb is the tight end left, number 87. Williams off left tackle, behind his left tackle, almost straight ahead, got about 4 yards before Dave Roller, number 76, put the hit on him.
The Bears are going to be content to let the clock run out and satisfied to go in with a 14-10 lead at halftime.
Greg Latta brings in the play for Avellini, and the time is going to wind down before the play gets off. So you can see that 38-36 in offensive plays, things pretty even as reflected on the scoreboard. In the yards rushing department, 119 for the Bears and 102 yards passing. And we mentioned that the scoring, 2 of the 3 touchdowns came on big plays. Payton to Baschnagel, 54 yards. Kramer to Sammy White, 55 yards.
And as you can see by the stats, Kramer 6 for 22. Now that's not very good percentages. The Bears are 6 and 12, so the Bears have a big edge in most every category except the number of offensive plays. And rushing, Minnesota only has 53 yards. Time of possession fairly close. But so far, Chicago has the edge on the stats, and that reflects in the score. The edge 14-10, and Tampa Bay is beating Green Bay 21-3. So, as I mentioned earlier, the loser of this game, especially with Tampa apparently winning, is going to be 3 games out of first place, and there's probably not going to be a wild card from this division, because the Eastern division of the NFC is so strong. Dallas at 6-1, Philadelphia 6-1, Washington 5-2, and Washington's beating Philadelphia, so there will be no more than 2 losses in the Eastern division.
Well, Walter Payton picked up 65 yards rushing in the first half, and that means that he has vaulted into 11th place in all-time career rushing. He needed 63 yards to do that.
That has moved him ahead of John Riggins, Ken Willard. And he's...
Brian Baschnagel is a deep man. The Bears to our right as Danmar kicks it off. The Bears in white, the Vikings in their purple home uniforms. It's taken by Watts at the 10-yard line. He's hit by Tim Baylor, number 47 of the Vikings, at the 24-yard line with a solid hit. Ricky Watts, number 80, the rookie wide receiver. So it is first down for the Bears from their own 25-yard line. So we start the 3rd period. Cobb is the tight end in. Baschnagel goes wide right. Scott is wide left. They come out of the I formation. Walter Payton. Good work by McNeil, fighting off the blocker to force him back inside, and the Vikings shut him down after a gain of about a yard, maybe 2.
You were right when you said McNeil did good work, but so did Williams out in front. But there was great pursuit from the inside. You'll see 22 blocking on McNeil, but Payton could not cut back because of the pursuit there as Krause forced him in. And then, of course, the tackle, the Vikings there with a gang tackle, about 4 of them on defense.
Second. And they've got close to 8 yards to go, a little more than that. Play action for the tight end Latta, overthrown, incomplete. Seaman back on the coverage with Greg Latta. 3rd down, Chicago. 14-10, the Bears lead it. Walter Payton passing to Baschnagel for 1 touchdown, catching a short pass from 2 yards out. Avellini on the throwing end for their 14 points. 5 defensive backs in on 3rd and long. The veteran Nate Wright joining the secondary of the Vikings.
The Bears may opt not to throw too far downfield and depend on a short pass to one of the backs out on this play.
Williams and Payton, the running backs. They've gone all the way. Sideliner. Intercepted. Nate Wright. Knocked out of bounds at the 4-yard line. Reeve Story and Bob Avellini in on the tackle. Another big play by the Vikings.
And they should have opted to throw to one of the running backs because it turned into the interception as Avellini is throwing from one side of the field over here all the way back across the field, across the hash mark on an out pattern, which can be dangerous as Wright comes in for the interception against Ricky Watts and takes it down for a big play as Reeve Story finally knocks him out of bounds. But when you throw that pass across the field that far, it's very, very difficult.
1st and goal at the 3-yard line for the Vikings. They trail by 4. Young and Brown are the running backs. Ed Brown, the rookie, battles to the 1. Good defensive play by the Chicago Bears. Doug Plank, number 46, coming up. Hartenstein, Livers, all there with him. Got about a yard, maybe two. They spotted at the 1. We'll call it a 2-yard gain, 2nd and goal.
And they're bringing Foreman in as Brown goes out. They want that experience down there near the goal line. And what a big play that interception was.
To get it so early, immediately in the 3rd period, down by only 4 points, it has put the Vikings with a chance to go ahead. Foreman fell over his own blocker, the tight end, Tucker, and lost a couple of yards. Stacked up by Hartenstein and Hicks. And Fensick getting up into it. 3rd and goal.
And now they're in a situation where it's not an automatic, just run it right up the middle and push it over. It's a questionable situation. 3 yards to go. The Bears defense, if you win football games, this is where you got to stop them. This kind of a play. And the Vikings have got to come up with a little something here, whether they would roll out Kramer or what. We're going to have a chance to see.
Double tight end plus an extra lineman. Frank Myers in there on the 3rd and short. Play action. Open is Dubois. Touchdown. Good play, Vikings. Kramer. The Stu Boyd, who was wide open. They had a run look, and they Stu Boyd.
Yes, you see Voigt there making contact, just a short rollout. He stops and throws it real quick, and he is wide open and catches it right on the numbers. Easy touchdown for the Minnesota Vikings. There's the fake of the handoff. He just rolls out partially, called a Q6 rollout, and there was just nothing the Bears could do because they're up there tight trying to stop the run.
So the hometown Vikings are ahead. Dan Myers' point after is good. And with 12:36 now remaining here in the 3rd period, Minnesota has gone back on top, 17-14. They led this game 3-0 early and then fell behind at the half. Breaking a 2-game losing streak, defeated Green Bay 21-3. That is a final. Doug Williams passing for 2 touchdowns and scoring 1. At the 10-yard line, it's taken by Willie McClendon. Reserve running back for the Bears, got out over the 20-yard line to the 22. Stopped there by Nord at number 49.
We have another final score in the NFL. The Washington Redskins of Jack Pardee beat Philadelphia 17-7. And boy, that division is really something. Philadelphia will be 6-2. Washington will be 6-2. Dallas is beating St. Louis by 4 in the 3rd period. So Dallas could end up at 7-1. That division is having quite a year.
Tampa Bay has moved to 6-2 now. The Packers have fallen to 3-5. And this game, of course, obvious in its importance to 2, 3, and 4 teams. First down Bears. Mike Phipps is the quarterback. Williams straight ahead, got a couple before he was forced back by the middle of that Viking defense. And Mike Phipps has come in at quarterback to replace Avellini. James White, the first man to hit Williams. 2nd and 8. Following the interception, 3 plays, 2 yards for the go-ahead Viking score.
Not big figures, but 7 points big, huh?
2nd and 8, Chicago. Peyton cutting back inside. Doug Sutherland, number 69. Bulldogged him down after a pickup of a couple. Blair was there as well. And it is 3rd down and about 7.
There's a score, 28-27. Cleveland over Cincinnati. That game is still on as the Bears send Mike Cobb in to send a pass to Mike Phipps. I guess they're trying to change things. That interception probably did it for Avellini, as Coach Neil Armstrong is going to try and change the course of this game with Mike Phipps.
5 defensive backs in on the passing situation for the Vikings. Nate Wright, the nickel back, incomplete, intended for Williams. He dropped the ball. Would not likely have picked up first down yardage. There were 2 Vikings there had he held the ball, and he still needed another 3 yards. Blair on the coverage. The Viking crowd alive here as we show you this score. New Orleans 17, the Lions 7. Detroit starting Jerry Goldstein at quarterback today, as they have had their problems since losing Gary Danielson and Joe Reed right at the beginning of the season. Parsons to punt for the Bears. Jimmy Edwards from his own 34. He can scoot. Gets out to the 47-yard line. Minnesota with good field position and a 3-point lead. Lee Coons made the tackle, reserve linebacker number 57. 10:45 remaining, third period. Vikings lead it 17-14. Well, the New York Jets, who beat the Vikings on Monday night, had themselves another win today, 28-19 over the Oakland Raiders at Shea Stadium today. Impressive win for the young Jets. First down, Vikings, after Parsons' 41-yard punt against the wind. Nowhere is Ricky Young, met right at the line of scrimmage. Might have lost a half a yard on the play. Hampton was there, so was Gary Campbell, number 59.
Let's take a look at Alan Page, number 82. You see Dan Hampton, number 99, and there's Page spinning out. He's great at spinning out and getting in on the action. He was there, as were several other Chicago Bears. And his wife, Diane Page, by the way, just ran the marathon, the Chicago America's Marathon, in 3 hours and 25 minutes to finish 5th among the women. And that's not bad. Diane Page is running down in Chicago while her husband's playing football in Minnesota.
That's terrific. Great performance. Kramer.
Oh,
Catch, Bob Tucker. First down and forced down. Nearly drops the ball. Now it's stolen from him at the 32-yard line, and it is Chicago ball. Do you believe that one?
well, we'll have to take another look at that one. They had him stopped for quite a while before he fumbled the ball.
Yeah, but he was still up and still trying to go forward.
Okay, let's take a look. The play action pass as Tucker goes back against the grain. As you can see, the linebackers trying to stay up with him. That's Muckensturm. He makes a nice one-handed catch. And here's Virgil Livers with the hit right there.
Trying to lateral.
There. He was trying to lateral. Yes, he was. It's a fumble. The Bears have the ball. Minnesota still leads 17-14 in the third quarter.
Well, the Turf Classic next week on CBS, followed by the Sports Spectacular, and that will feature the light heavyweight fight, James Scott and Jerry Celestine. Here's the end of that play again, Johnny.
Yes, as Livers will make the tackle, he is stopped here, but he keeps his legs going, and then there's Tucker trying to lateral off to Ricky Young, and Livers makes the recovery. Another big play in this ballgame.
Looked like Tucker almost thought better of it and tried to take the lateral back, but he coughed it up, and it's Bears ball. And it looks like it's loose again there.
Fumble.
First down, run by Dave Williams. Let's see who comes up with this one.
They may have blown the whistle dead before he fumbled. This is all judgment by the officials.
And it remains the property of the Bears. Pickup of 2 on the play. Jim Marshall, Jeff Seaman made the tackle. Other scores around the NFL. Baltimore beat Buffalo 14-13. The slumping Bills, and Baltimore, what a season they've had. They win their second game against 6 losses. 2nd and 8. Phipps. He's got a man open. Scott out of bounds at the 40-yard line of Minnesota. Paul Krause made the tackle there, and a big first down play from Phipps to James Scott.
And a good block by Walter Payton on McNeil as Scott ran the flag back to the sidelines, and it was a perfect pass by Phipps. Krause makes the tackle. The Bears are down at the 41-yard line.
Well, Minnesota has had 2 interceptions today. Both came off Bob Avellini. Payton has fumbled once for the Bears, and the Vikings have coughed it up on Bob Tucker's fumble. So we've had turnovers and interceptions again today by both of these teams. Have been struggling with them, and flags, whistles, etc. are down as Payton trying to go wide.
He threw it to Doug Sutherland. Payton, the play was over with, so Payton says, here, you can have it. It doesn't count anyway. You know, those are the kind of things, though, that get the players upset. Southern.
Ball start, 65, offense.
Noah Jackson is number 65.
Okay, let's see how that play went, as the call was good on Jackson. Now, here it is. And Walter, it's a little flip. He says, you take it. I don't want it.
Sutherland didn't know what to do with it.
Sutherland is going to remember that, though.
Bit of a surprise having that ball steering the goal line in the face.
Yeah, look, Ma, look what I got.
1st and 15 on the 5-yard penalty. 17-14, Vikings by 3. Phipps coming in for Avellini. Here, Payton gets 4 of the 5 penalty yards back and is stacked up by a host of Vikings. The safety Hannon came up to put the arm wrap on him. McNeil was there, number 54, the linebacker. 2nd and 11, a long 11 for the Chicago Bears. Cobb brings in the play, and New England defeated Miami 28-13. That's final.
So New England takes over the Eastern Division lead of the AFC with a 6-2 record. Miami is 5-3.
Rogan had a touchdown pass in that game today. Phipps. Complete to the tight end, Cobb. Cobb bulls his way, trying to get the first down yardage. He'll be close to it. Good effort by Mike Cobb, his 2nd catch of the day.
And a good effort by Mike Phipps, too. He comes back, fakes the handoff to Payton, comes back the other side. He can't find his primary receiver, and then drills it over there. And Cobb shows his strength here and his size. He's a big tight end. He gets away from Matt Blair, who tried to hit him high. That can be a big mistake. Look at that. There was the low tackle, and down he went. You got to hit those guys low, especially if they're bigger than you.
Tom Hannon, number 45, the man who submarined him, and Johnny Turner got him from top. And now the measurement to see whether his extra effort got him the first down.
No.
Just missed. Inches. The ball just outside the 30-yard line of Minnesota. Mike Phipps moving the Bears upfield smartly. Play comes in from the sidelines. Last time in this situation, they had the quarterback sneak straight ahead. There's Neil Armstrong and his players. That's Bob Avellini, number 7 on the left. Ricky Watts, number 80 on the right.
Dan Jiggets, number 62 in the back, and James Scott saying, hey, I can catch more passes. Now it's a 3rd down situation. We'll see if they quarterback sneak, and we'll watch Matt Blair, 59. He likes to get way back and then fly at that line.
Double tight end. Bashnagel set on the wing. Power formation here. And they're going to throw. Good play.
Oh!
At the 5-yard line. First down. Walter Payton sneaking out of that backfield. And you got to love that call, Johnny.
That's an old Green Bay Packer call. A 3rd and 1 situation. The fake of the handoff to Williams. And down the field, you take the chance, and it can get you great dividends. And Payton is very sure-handed. Finally, Turner makes the tackle, but the Bears are on the 5-yard line with a chance to take the lead. Great play by the Chicago Bears.
1st and goal at the 5-yard line. Vikings send in Holloway and Nate Wright defensively here as they try to stack them up in deep. Cobb and Latta are the 2 tight ends for the Bears. Payton trying to get outside, and good defensive work by the Vikings. Nate Wright just went right out there with him and held him to maybe a half a yard at the most.
The percentages are good if you run Walter Payton, but his pulling guard fell down, and there was Nate Wright out there. Walter still carries that ball with one hand sometimes in those situations, but a good play by Nate Wright. But the key to that was that the guard didn't get out. Reeve Sori, I believe it was, slipped and fell on that soggy turf and didn't make it out there.
Yeah, where they spot the ball, it comes out to be a half-yard loss. So good defensive work by the Vikings. 2nd down. Scott and Bashnagel, the wide receivers now. Bashnagel left, Scott right.
One-on-one.
Wants to throw. Bashnagel incomplete. Bashnagel saw that sideline in the end zone coming up, tried to stay in and stretch for it. Couldn't do it. Turner on the coverage.
There's the bird's eye view. You see the ball coming into the screen. He makes the dive. He had a step or two there and just a little bit overthrown, but he had beaten Turner on a one-on-one situation. You'll get that down that close to the goal line, and anytime you got one-on-one, the offensive man's going to win it. If he can't, he shouldn't be in the NFL.
Latta brings the play in. Cobb goes out. 3rd and goal. Vikings lead it 17-14. This drive coming off Virgil Liver's fumble recovery. The drop by Bob Tucker. Can the Bears capitalize? Bashnagel Does he have it? No, incomplete. Had it in his hands, took a bump from Turner, could not hold on. 4th down.
He almost made a fantastic grab as he went down on another situation with the one-on-one. Brian Baschnagel, you've got the same view coming right at you. He had the turn on this. He got his hands on it, but I think he dropped it as he came down to the turf. I mean, really, that could have been a spectacular catch, and Turner might have swiped it out of his hands as it was falling down, and it was really ended up being a good offensive play and a good defensive play. Turner saved the touchdown.
Bob Thomas will attempt the field goal from the 12-yard line, make it the 13. A 23-yard kick by Thomas is good. And we have a tie football game here at Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, as the Bears converted on the fumble recovery, getting themselves a field goal to tie it. And we have 6:43 remaining, 3rd period. Brian Baschnagel had 2 chances in the end zone, made good efforts on both of them, but came up empty, and that's how it feels. And credit to Johnny Turner, who appeared to get his hand on the ball as it was in Baschnagel's hands on that second attempt by Brian Baschnagel. Good defensive play. The field goal by Thomas has him at 17 all. The deep man is Edwards, and some delay here at the kickoff.
Edwards has flirted with breaking one of these all day. Here's Chicago's scoring drive. 9 plays, 62 yards, possession 312. The Bears have had 2 consistent scoring drives today, which is more than they've had in quite a while. They scored only 7 points last week and 7 points the week before, so this is getting up there for the Bears in scoring.
3 turnovers have resulted in points in this game. Minnesota's first interception by Kurt Knopf led to a Dan Meyer field goal. Wright's interception led to Voigt's touchdown catch from Tommy Kramer that sent the Vikings in front 17-14, and Liver's recovery of Bob Tucker's fumble led to Thomas's field goal for Chicago. Short kickoff taken at the 15-yard line by Brent McClanahan, number 33. McClanahan gets out to the 33-yard line, matching his jersey number, and a 1st down there for Minnesota. Lonnie Perrin, newly acquired running back, made the tackle for Chicago.
San Francisco has taken an early lead over Atlanta, 7-0. The 49ers are the only team in the NFL without a victory. They're 0-7 going in, and that's the team the Bears will play next week out west.
41,164 fans came to the game. 7,000 stayed home because of the inclement weather. Actually, a nice day by Bloomington November standards. And the Viking defense rises up. The Bears defense at the line of scrimmage. Muckensturm, number 58. Campbell, number 59. And Osborne, number 68.
Osborne did a good job on that, and he's also gotten to be pretty good friends with Alan Page, and he has become a runner, as has Alan Page. They're running distances, learning how to jog and keep those legs driving, and I'll tell you, it's not easy.
Loss of 2 on the play, Johnny, and it'll bring up 2nd and 12 at the 31-yard line. In motion goes Bob Tucker behind the ball. Play action, Kramer for Ted Brown, the rookie. Tom Hicks came out to cut him off. Stopped him well short of 1st down yardage, but he gained about 8 yards.
We take a look at it from the defensive aspect. I'll tell you, Kramer really drilled this ball. Brown made a nice grab on it as Muckensturm was running for his pass zone responsibility. Brown brought it in and got as much as he could before he stepped out of bounds, driven out by Terry Schmidt and Tom Hicks.
3rd down, about 4 yards to go. Ball at the 39, slot formation right. Kramer, incomplete for Rashad. Schmidt on the coverage. The pass off the mark. 4th down. Vikings have not done too well on 3rd down conversions today.
And Tommy Kramer has not done that well in the passing department. His percentages are low, and he's been a little off target on some of his passes, and some of them have been dropped. So it's a combination of a lot of factors, but the Vikings have not passed as well as they have in the past few games.
2 of 11 on third downs for Minnesota today. Greg Coleman standing at his own 23-yard line. Bears are 4 for 9 in third down recovered. Pretty good third down conversions. Pretty good rush and a good kick. Fair catch by Walderscheid at the 17-yard line. Greg Coleman using that window advantage with an excellent punt. Well, after the first down, Bears from their own 17-yard line. Baschnagel comes wide left. Scott wide right. Mike Phipps has been the quarterback since the interception thrown by Abellini early in the third quarter. Good catch by Scott. Knocked out by Turner. Gain of close to 9 yards on the play.
Houston has taken a lead over Seattle early in the game, 7-0. Jim Zorn to Sherman Smith for a 13-yard touchdown.
San Diego in front of the Rams, 7-0 in the first quarter. Hank Bauer with the scoring run.
The Bears seem to be in the process of reestablishing James Scott as a pass catcher. He's caught a few today.
Second down, little under 2 to go. Payton and Williams are running backs. Walter Payton hit hard at the line of scrimmage, still managed to get the first down yardage. White finished him off. Sutherland really popped him right at the line, but Payton, showing the Payton stuff, still got the yardage.
Take a look at that defense, as James White's the one who slowed him up, and then everybody else comes in on it, and they stop Walter Payton.
First down. Chicago Bears just inside their own 30-yard line. 4:56 remaining, third quarter. Payton again. Good hole off tackle right. He's got first down yardage. Hannon finally drives him out after a gain of 13, maybe 14 yards. Good blocking on the right side. How's that one, Johnny?
Cleveland 28-27 over Cincinnati. So Cleveland now 5-3, Cincinnati 1-7, and that was kind of a grudge game, I understand. It always is. Two rivals.
Ryan Sipe had 4 touchdown passes for the winning Cleveland Browns. Pete Johnson scored twice for Cincinnati. Payton has now picked up 89 yards here in Bloomington on 16 carries. First down, Bears. From their own 44, play action. Phipps with lots of time. Good fake. And it's complete to James Scott. Scott all the way down to the Minnesota 35-yard line. Excellent ball handling by Mike Phipps, and he delivers a good pass as well.
Let's take a look at James Scott now. I think this is his 4th pass reception. He goes across the grain there, gets below the linebacker's coverage there, and was right there for the pass. Alertly gets up because nobody had touched him. And finally, Jeff Seaman and Matt Blair take a hold of James and say no farther, no farther. But the Bears are in Viking territory at the 35.
Bears moving again, second consecutive good drive. James Scott has now caught 4 passes, 62 yards through the air. Williams hit behind the line of scrimmage. James White, number 72. Marshall was there, number 70. He had a good effort by the front 4 of the Vikings. A loss of 2 yards on the play. Play comes in with Latta. Cobb goes out.
Well, things have kind of turned around for Chicago since Mike Phipps came in. They had that one drive, and now they have moved the ball. Critical play here. The Vikings had a big blitz on last time. We'll see if they try and do it again.
Baschnagel wide right, Scott wide left. They want to throw. Some heat on. Phipps gets out of there well. He's got some blockers and works his way down for a first down. Well, let's see where they mark it. He's close to the first down, near the 25-yard line, and Phipps, not noted for his running, had some blockers and used it up.
Well, he noticed the hole there as the Minnesota pass rushers all got onto one side, and then Phipps just took off, faked the pass, and ran downfield. A nice tackle there by, I believe it was that Matt Blair that made that tackle over the block?
So,
Matt Blair.
And that was Walter Payton throwing the block for him. There was good reaction by Payton and Reeve Sori to get their quarterback downfield on the pass play. Third and about a half a yard.
Whoa.
Williams trying to pick his way for the first down. I believe he got it.
Williams, a ball carrier.
Vikings say no. And the ball might have come loose in that pileup. Now where they're spotting it, looks like it's going to be short of the first down yardage.
They are short.
Well, Johnny, what do you do here?
Well, I think it's a little bit too long for the field goal attempt. In my opinion, it'd be about a 46-yard field goal. So you got to go for it.
Ricky Watts has brought a play in. They didn't even consider the field goal. Neil Armstrong had Watts on his way in. It is 4th and about a foot.
See Matt Blair? See Matt Blair? He's way off the line of scrimmage. He's going to come flying for the line. Number 59.
It looks like a first down for the Bears. Phipps just keeping that ball, going behind Dan Neal, Sorey, and Noah Jackson, and he has the first down.
Phipps gets the first down at the...
Pretty close game here. Dallas 19-13 over St. Louis in the 4th quarter.
St. Louis has played a lot of people tough.
First and 10 for the Bears.
Young team. They've had some injuries and still kind of rebuilding under Bud Wilkinson, but given some tough opposition in almost every game they've been in. First down, Bears threatening again. Play action once more. Good rush on Phipps. White in pursuit, and he throws it out of bounds. Smart play by the veteran Phipps. He had Cobb there. Cobb was covered, and he just unloaded under good pressure from the Vikings. White and Sutherland.
Ladies and gentlemen, the attendance for today's game is 41,100.
Second down.
41,164. Thank you.
Randy Holloway has come back in the game for the Vikings.
Number 75 for Marshall. 2nd and 10. Big series here. We're tied at 17. 1:13 remaining, 3rd period. Both these teams 3 and 4, trying to keep pace with Tampa Bay, who won today. Slot formation left. Wide left is Scott. Phipps, tight end. Latta, short of the first down. Defensive play by Turner, number 27. And the second-year corner man made a good play here, stopping Latta.
You saw the tight end come across your screen there. It's the same play where they had the big gain with Michael Cobb, and that was really a saving tackle by John Turner to prevent Latta from going even further. So the Bears have a 3rd down passing situation, 3rd and about 6. Chicago has completed 5 of 11 3rd down situations, which is much higher than their average so far this year.
Nate right in for Jeff Seaman. 5 defensive backs for the Vikings. Scott left, Bashnagel right. Phipps quickly sideline, Bashnagel complete. Brian Bashnagel right on the coverage, but Phipps delivered that ball ahead of the defender, Nate Wright. Had he not, boy, Wright was looking at a lot of real estate.
Yes, that was perfect timing, perfect catch, and a perfect pass, really. He caught that right beyond the first down marker and dipped out of bounds. That's precision passing, and that's something that Chicago fans haven't seen all that much over the past few years. A good precision-type passing attack, and Phipps is showing some of it right now.
First down, Chicago Bears at the 14-yard line of Minnesota. A tie football game. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris here at Bloomington on CBS. Walter Payton trying to get outside. Flag is down. Touchdown. Now let's see who it's against. Payton is in the end zone, but the flag may be against the Bears. Let's wait and see. Here's the preliminary sign, clipping against Chicago.
There is a dejected young man. He got to the outside when it was jammed up, turned on the speed, and got into the end zone, and that's a disheartening type of thing for a football player, as the Bear coaching staff says, I can't believe it. We'll have to find out who did it. I did not see the clip.
Personal foul, clipping, number 84. First down.
Brian Bashnagel.
Tough break for the Bears. They were driving, moving well. Now they're way back out at the 28-yard line, but they still have first down. Ricky Watts, number 80, goes wide right. Bashnagel in the slot right. Scott left, 3 wide receivers.
James Scott has a situation out here.
nowhere. A yard at most. Vikings read that play extremely well. Jeff Seaman was the man to make the hit. Seconds winding down here to complete play in this third period. And that's the end of the third quarter with the score. Chicago Bears 17, Minnesota Vikings 17. We now pause for a word from your local station. Second down, 25 yards to go from the Minnesota 29-yard line. 17 to 17. Final quarter about to begin, barring overtime. Mike Phipps at the controls has had the Bears moving since coming in early in the third period. Complete to Greg Latta. Latta inside the 10 to the 7-yard line. Short of the first down, but he has the Bears in deep again. It'll be third and about 2 yards to go.
Latta straight down the field, and Phipps spotted him. The Bears are establishing a tight end as their receiver. As you can see, the coverage downfield. He's short of the deep man Krause, who is back in Marlboro country, and there is the tackle made as the Bears are throwing to the tight end a little bit today. Third down and about 3.
Third down. Bears threatening again. Payton, they shut him down, and he squirts for a couple. He'll be short of the first down, however. Mullaney was there. Duck White was there. He got to the 5-yard line. It'll be fourth down, about a yard to go. They're going to bring in the field goal unit, Bob Thomas. The Bears with a chance to go ahead. And Mike Phipps, 8 for 12, 126 yards here in the second half.
He's done very well, and now it's going to be up to the Bears to hold off the Minnesota blocking team, because the Vikings are so great at this.
And they do, and Thomas hits it. And the Bears are back in front, 20 to 17. 13:32 remaining regulation time in a seesaw battle. The Chicago Bears have gone ahead in this key game. Got ourselves a football game here. 20 to 17, the Bears in front. Thomas will kick it off. The deep man is Jimmy Edwards, number 32, standing at the 2-yard line of Minnesota. Edwards will run it. Traffic at the 30-yard line. First man to hit him, Darrell Luce, number 57, reserve linebacker. I'm sorry, make it Lee Coons for the Bears, number 57. And Brian Baschnagel, number 84. First down for the Minnesota Vikings from the only 31-yard line. And this has developed into a real seesaw. Vikings led 3-0, fell behind 14 to 10 at the half. Kramer intended for Stu Voigt. Hicks on the coverage. It's incomplete. Minnesota went back in front 17 to 14 early in the third. And now the Bears on top 20 to 17. Second down, Vikings. And that Viking defense has been out there quite a bit here in this second half, as evidenced by the time of possession. Tommy Kramer and company will try to give the defensive unit a rest.
Here comes the blitz.
Kramer for Sammy White, incomplete. Livers, Spensick on the coverage.
And Kramer's statistics are really going down the drain. He's 9 for 28. 9 for 28 for 113 yards. And if you take away the one bomb to Sammy White, which was, what, 55 yards, you get down there to about 55, 60 yards passing other than that one. So,
well, you should factor in about 5 drops, too, on Kramer's behalf. And while they have had a sputtering offense, here it is 20 to 17. Their defense is setting up the opportunities for them. Kramer. Incomplete. Rashad, a high pass, not a good pass. Rashad got a hand on it but no more.
Let's take a look at Ahmad Rashad, who has not been a big factor in this game so far. He comes down, he's wide open. Look at, there's no Bears around, but the pass is up, and he can't quite hang on. And that means that Minnesota's going to have to punt.
Walter Scheid is the deep man at the Bears' 32. Greg Coleman stands at his own 16. Line drive punt, fair catch signaled.
Doug Plank,
Brian Baschnagel, and Plank backing up there to get into the action, flattens Brian Baschnagel. They'll have a little conversation about that.
He flattens all kinds of people in practice, too. That's the only way he knows how to play football. But the Chicago Bears have the ball and lead 20-17 with 13 minutes to play.
Well, we'll be there at the Rahway State Prison for James Scott and Jerry Celestine on the Sports Spec next Saturday afternoon. An exciting and dramatic light heavyweight bout. First down, slot formation right, Chicago Bears. They lead in the game 20-17, and it's been Mike Phipps here in the second half doing the job. McClendon, the ball carrier. McClendon with a big hole as a first down over midfield. Number 37, loose ball. I believe play was already dead, but let's make sure, because the Vikings have the football. The play had already been called dead. Willie McClendon will see it again, the rookie from Georgia.
Let's take a look at Willie in for Walter Payton, carrying the ball on the inside. And right there, boy, did he get wrapped, huh? Who was it that wrapped him?
What a pop.
Ooh.
Kurt Knopf, number 25, picked up on waivers from Houston this year.
I don't know why Payton is out of the game, whether they were resting him, but he's back in there now. McClendon was in for the one play, and Payton's back in the ballgame.
McClendon did the job, took quite a pop, and Knopf left the field as he obviously felt the collision too. Here's Payton. Payton pulled down from behind by Paul Krause after a gain of close to 9 yards as the Bears get the running attack moving well. They've had a nice combination of running and passing here in the second half. We pointed out that Viking defense has had to be out there a long time, and yet, while the Bears have dominated offensively, they lead by only 3 points.
And Payton should be pushing about that 100-yard mark right about now.
San Diego and Los Angeles are tied at 7-all late in the first period. Second and about 3 here. Phipps sideline, incomplete. Baschnagel slipped. The pass was there. Baschnagel slipped trying to make his cut. Turner on the coverage. Third down.
Payton has 18 carries for 97 yards.
John Stenerud's field goal has Kansas City in front of the New York Giants. 3-0. 13:09 remaining in the first quarter at Kansas City. Third down, 3 to go. Bears with the ball at the Vikings' 42-yard line. Slot formation left.
Uh-oh, here they come.
Phipps, Williams out of the backfield, lots of running room. Bryant, the man trying to stop him, can't do it. Did he get him? Out of bounds. Hannon forced him out at the 2-yard line. Tom Hannon saved the touchdown.
And the Vikings took the gamble. They put the all-out blitz on, and Williams got out of the mess, and there was nobody to cover him. You see 50 Seaman coming in, the outside blitz, and there was nobody to cover him, because when you blitz all those guys, and that's why some people are reluctant to blitz, Williams takes it, avoids one tackle, and is finally knocked out of bounds. Great play by the Chicago Bears, and they have a chance to bust this game open a little bit on the 2-yard line.
All right, Dave Williams, free agent from Colorado, with a big play. Another alert pass by Mike Phipps, who's having himself quite an afternoon. First and goal, the 2-yard line. Payton, nowhere to go. Vikings really pile it up. Hannon was right there in the thick of it again. They're high on this young man here in Minnesota. Third-year man for Michigan State. Third pick in 1977. Kind of broken him in slowly. He's a starter this year, and he's really doing the job.
And so is Mike Phipps right now. Ricky Watts comes in with a play, second and goal on the 2-yard line. And the way the Vikings are so tough up the middle on this tough yardage situation, you might think that the Bears Will go off tackler outside to cross him up.
Payton to the goal line, touchdown. Seaman had him, but could not contain him from breaking the plane of that goal line. And the Chicago Bears have opened the lead to 26-17.
And he broke Matt Blair's tackle. 59 comes up to make the contact, and he broke that tackle and went forward, kept the legs moving, and then got through Seaman and the rest of them. Did that ball cross the plane? Very close. Didn't look like it to me.
Well, it's the old angle number there, I guess. You can see our angle is slightly in the end zone, and the official was on the goal line. Thomas. The point after, it's good. And so the Chicago Bears, with an impressive drive, 10:38 remaining, fourth period, have now taken a 10-point lead, 27-17. For another, and he has the Bears in front 27-17. Bob Thomas, number 16, who has a pair of field goals today. Kicks it off. It's going to be short, taken on the fly by Edwards at his 12, and he's moving. Edwards, nice spin. Look at him go. Jimmy Edwards.
What a run.
Tremendous kickoff return to the 33-yard line. Finally, Mike Spivey pulled him down. And Jimmy Edwards, who had his problems Monday night, has really been motoring here today.
And he caught that on the run and just took off and was determined that he was going to have a big return. Good blocking in the wedge, and then here he just breaks tackles, spins, keeps his legs going. A fantastic individual effort before he's finally brought down, and when they did get him down, he almost got back up. Watch that as Spivey makes the interception. He almost got up off the hands. The Vikings have the ball.
56-yard return, flag down, and play called before Kramer could launch his bomb. Illegal procedure against the Vikings. Well, you know, you like to come up on first down after a long return or an interception and try and get that quick score. First down pass is so common. Vikings wanted it quickly, and instead an infraction.
That run certainly warmed up the Minnesota Viking crowd, didn't it?
Sure
did.
Offense. First down.
Well, Freddie Wine isn't going to blame anybody in particular for that offside. It is 1st and 15. Let's see if the Vikings can rebound from the penalty and still capitalize on the brilliant return by Jimmy Edwards, former outstanding player in the Canadian Football League. Not seen any action at running back. Blitz out for Young. Well played by Muckenstern. Perfect defensive play, Jerry Muckenstern. Big loss back to the 46-yard line of the Bears.
And that's what the Bears will try and do with those blitzes, try and put the pressure on and the way they play their pass defense and hope for a mistake. But it was a good defensive play. They rushed Kramer. He had to throw to his safety valve, and it wound up as being a loss. This is Buddy Ryan's forte, the Bears defensive coordinator. He used to be up here at Minnesota. He'll throw anything at you.
Second and very long. Voigt brought the play in. Kramer got time, deep sideline, complete to Sammy White. White will be short of the first down. He's hit by Livers. Fensick and Plank got in there a little bit late, and White, I'm sure, is complaining about that, but there's no call. They need about 3-4 yards maybe for the first down.
Let's take a look at Mr. Sammy White as he fakes inside, comes back to the outside, and the pass is right on the numbers in here. And let's see if it's a late hit.
Good
Virgil
throw.
Livers on the coverage, makes the tackle, and here comes Fensick, number 45, and Plank. Very close.
Close indeed. More so Plank than Fensick. Third, about 4. Ricky Young. Look at him run. First down as the Vikings come alive. Inside the 20 to the 18. Hard running by Ricky Young, Plank, and Muckenstern on the tackle.
I'll say one thing, this is an action football game. If Viking and Bear fans think their teams have been boring for a couple, 3 weeks, this one is not a boring football game. It's a good one. Good offense and some great defensive plays. The Vikings, it's hard to believe, there's still 8.5 minutes left in this game.
27-17, the Bears lead it. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris, and we've got a barn burner here. A little cool to get the fire started, mind you, but players are doing it. Ted Brown, the rookie. Good play, Muckensturm again, number 58, fighting off the block, would not let him make the turn on the corner. He got about a yard, 2 maybe.
There goes Mr. Brown following Ricky Young, number 34. As you saw Muckensturm play off the block by Ricky Young, number 58, and make the tackle. A good job by Jerry Muckensturm, who is getting better and better with every game.
Less than a yard to gain on the play. Muckensturm, 4-year man from Arkansas State. 7th round pick in 76. Vikings trying to keep it going. Play action. Kramer. Wide open is Ricky Young. Touchdown. Ricky Young, what a nice play. Kramer to Ricky Young. Perfectly executed. And the Vikings are right back in it again. And we've got 7:28 still to play in regulation time.
And look at the time he had to have to call this play, as Brown had to fake his block. He had to wait for the back to come up on the other side and hit him on the run. Perfect play, good execution. The Vikings are back in this football game.
We have had a lot of big plays today. We've had a lot of mistakes, but we've had a lot of big plays by both teams. Meyer, point after. Whoa! Now there's a big play. Osborne was in that traffic. I'm not sure who got the hand on it. Let's have a look. Hicks was there too. Well, we're going to see the touchdown play first.
Here it is with the rollout. You see Doug Plank faking the blitz and going back in his coverage. There is Kramer back across the field for the touchdown, but they missed the extra point. That could be key. We'll be back in a moment.
I never worry about what brand name part my mechanic puts on my car. That doesn't make me a bad guy. I go to a professional mechanic I can trust, so I trust the parts he uses. He uses Mopar. It means nothing to me, but it means a lot to him. Mopar fits all American-made cars, foreign cars too, and they're used by professional mechanics all over the world. If the professional trusts Mopar, I trust Mopar. Does he make me happy? He makes it his business. Trust.
Kramer to Ricky Young, 17-yard touchdown. Dan Meyer's point after attempt was blocked. That could be a big point. 27-23. Dan Meyer, low floating kickoff, fielded at the 18-yard line by Ricky Watts, trying to get outside. A diving tackle. Number 82, Robert Steele, the reserve wide receiver, made an excellent play there. Watts went back toward his own goal line to get wide. Steele would not let him out.
So he's trying to get outside and get around the horn, but the Cardinal rules on a kickoff return, you go forward, not backwards.
Rookie mistake, rookie play by Steele. Grant in discussion on his sideline. Minnesota went 33 yards in 5 plays. A 4-point margin. Robin Earl is in at fullback. This is Williams. Williams has moved to halfback, and he is hit right at the line of scrimmage by number 55, Scott Studwell, now in the middle, and Matt Blair, 59. Gain of a yard, maybe. New Orleans defeating the Lions 17-7. And Johnny, you know, New Orleans is in the race in the Western Division. They're now 4-4. Rams in a tough game against San Diego today. The Rams are only 4-3, so the Saints still in it. These two teams very much in it in the Central Division. 2nd and 9. Robin Earl, Studwell bulldogs him down. The big guy, Earl, 245-pounder. Studwell and Marshall took 2 of them to pull him down. He got about 4. It'll bring up 3rd and 5.
Well, a key play for the Bears coming up as Mike Phipps, who has had a real good game since he came in, probably and possibly the best game since he's been with the Chicago Bears. He's done everything right. He's picked up blitzes. His passes have been very good. And now he's called upon to do it again. A 3rd and 5 situation with 6 minutes to play.
Walter Payton is back in. Williams is shifted to the fullback spot. Earl is out. Backs in the pattern. Incomplete. Trying to get Williams. And the Vikings defense rises up. Blair on the coverage, but the blitz forced the early pass.
And this stadium is going wild now. There's only 41,000, but it sounds like about 60,000 as we take a look at the replay as the Vikings put the all-out blitz on again. And the incompletion, and the Bears will be punting with the win.
Edwards waiting for it at the 35 of Minnesota. Parsons hits it from his 10. Good kick. It's high. Edwards will try to run it. Edwards. Excellent return to midfield. Splitting two Bears tacklers. Heron and Muckensturm finally brought him down. Some football game in Bloomington today. Great individual plays and some excellent teamwork, particularly by the Vikings defense. Next week it's Cincinnati. Tucker and Voigt both in for the Vikings. Kramer sideline. Complete. Bears said no. Flag downfield. Rashad did catch the ball. Pickup of 5. Schmidt on the coverage, number 44. A holding call, preliminary signal. Let's see against whom.
I think the Bears on defense. Defensive holding.
It was downfield away from the reception. A deeper receiver.
The Vikings used just one running back in that last situation.
Every play a big one now. 5:31 to go. Foreman comes in. Brown goes out for the Vikings.
44 defense. First down.
Schmidt is the man pegged with a holding. He was over making the tackle on Rashad.
Well, we'll see if we can pick him up here for his holding. I think they may have called him holding before that last minute there when he was coming down the field.
Well, either they did or they got the wrong man, but it was a holding call. Slot formation left for the Vikes. In motion, Sammy White. Kramer stumbled, but regains his balance. And it's blocked by Alan Page as he tried to drill it to Foreman at the sideline. Alan Page got the hand up and batted it away. Second down and 10.
As he slipped, you can see the slip as he comes out, which threw everything off for him. Ahmad Rashad was so open on the other side of the field, but with Kramer running this way, you can see where he couldn't see all the way back across the field. He throws, and there's Alan Page, 82, leaping up to bat it down.
Young and Foreman, the running backs for the Vikings. Sammy White comes out wide left. Rashad goes wide right. Second and 10. There's 45-yard line.
Here they come.
Kramer with heat. Complete to the 40. Ricky Young made a good catch in traffic. Picked up 5 yards. Muckensturm with a hit.
Boy, those Bears will do anything on defense. One of the problems has been in a few key games when an opposing team has had to come down and score, they've been able to do it against Chicago. We'll see now. As you know, Minnesota has got to come down and score this time. It's 3:56, and the field goal won't win it for them. They've got to get the touchdown, and they have a 3rd and 5. They'll have 2 cracks at it because I'm sure they won't punt.
Gaines is in as the nickelback. Hicks is out. Kramer for Foreman. Incomplete. Out of bounds. Lots of coverage there. Schmidt, Campbell for the Bears. Rashad and Foreman wound up in the same area. And there was good pressure on Kramer.
Yes, by Alan Page. They ran a crisscross. They're going to punt. How about that?
4th and 5.
Unless
3:38 to play. They got a punt here, Johnny, don't you think? They're down 4. Their defense has played pretty well.
Well, they're punting, so I guess they got a punt.
A lot of time. 3:38. Coleman standing at the Vikings 45-yard line.
They're trying to draw an offsides.
Long count. And they're going to get delay is what they're going to get. That doesn't really matter because he's trying to angle anyway. Delay of game against the Vikings, and so Coleman will just give himself another 5 yards punting range.
I don't know. you're on the 39-yard line. If you try for it and you don't make it, well, the Bears get the ball on the 39. Well, now they're going to punt, and it's very likely it could go in the end zone, and the Bears have the ball in 20. Is there that much difference to sacrifice the one play when you're deep, when you're in their territory? I don't know.
I think so.
Well, that's what's great about football.
I think the clock is a factor, Johnny. That 3:36, they got a lot of time to get the ball back. Coleman trying for the sideline. It's a good bounce. It's down at the 1-yard line by Terry LeCount.
Okay, Tim, you were right.
Just lucky, I guess. Super play. How often are you going to get a punt that lands on the 1? I still would have liked it if it had been a touchback, but the Vikings like it even better now. First down at the 1-yard line. Now the Viking defense will try to get that ball back here. 3:28 to play regulation time. Bears by 4. Neil Armstrong got to be a little concerned, but his team's in front. That's better than being behind by 4 when you're at your 1. Mike Phipps has done an outstanding job here in the second half for the Chicago Bears. Bob Avellini, unfortunately, gave up that interception, led to a Viking touchdown, and Phipps came in and has really done the job.
There's a great shot down the goal line to show how deep they are in their own territory, and the fans are yelling defense, 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 and I guess I would too if I was sitting out there and rooting for the Minnesota Vikings, because they need defense. They have all 3 timeouts remaining, as do the Chicago Bears.
Not sure what this delay is here. It's an official timeout of some kind.
I saw Paul Krause talking to one of the officials over on the sideline, pointing to something out on the field, and the official came running out, but I don't know what it was. It certainly is not for a commercial timeout here.
Or we'd be in it, that's
yes.
for sure. Now there's a little discussion over at the sideline on the telephone to presumably somebody up in the press box. May have been a clock factor or a problem.
Oh, yes. One clock says 4:28 left, and another clock says 3:28.
4:28 on that clock.
They're going to go with a 4:28.
Well, that's an extra minute of football.
2 minutes, we'll try to adjust both clocks.
Home crowd has got to like that, and I would say Bud Grant and company do as well.
Well, it was Paul Krause who picked it up for Minnesota, because I saw him talking to the official, and there's one clock that said 3:28, and then we'll take a look at the other clock to show that it says 4:28. And the reason I said 3:28, because I always look at the other clock.
Yes, me too. It's a bigger one over here with all of that other stuff on the scoreboard down to our right. So 4:28 remains. Bears first down from their 1. Williams and Payton, the running back. Phipps, not a bad hole, gets out to Jackson and Dan Neal. Matt Blair sliced over to stop him.
A gain of 3.
2nd and 7 from the 4-yard line.
The Vikings will be looking to force a fumble now. You might see some hands going for that ball.
James Scott brings the play in. Bashnagel goes out. .56 remaining regulation time. The Bears clinging to a 4-point lead. Payton. Studwell made the tackle. Out to the 7, maybe the 8. Let's see where they mark it. 8-yard line. 3rd. A long 2. Closer to 3 yards to go. Let's say 3rd and 3. Changes by both teams in this situation. Roller in. Sutherland out. Up front defensively for the Vikings. Payton now has 103 yards rushing.
And this is it.
A big play here. Payton does not have the first down.
He's very close. I think he might have it.
Well, I may have. Yes, he does. I'm sorry, Johnny. With Payton, you never know. It's pointless to make that call because he somehow manages to get an extra yard or two out of every squirm and scramble. And he got a big one there. First down, Bears.
With 2:37 left in the game.
At the 12-yard line. Chicago breathing a little more easily now. Williams, number 22, digs it out, picking up a couple close to the 15-yard line. Doug Sutherland made the tackle.
And the Vikings have called timeout with 2:03 left.
And so with 2:01 on the clock, 27-23, the Bears hold the lead.
One of their timeouts, they have 2 left.
Second down, 7 yards to go. Phipps straight ahead. Got a yard, maybe a yard and a half. At the bottom of that pile is McNeil. Duck White, number 72. Right end is still in. 2 wide receivers, 3rd and 6. They are 8 of 17 third down conversions today. They give it to Payton. Did he get there? It'll be close.
I don't think so.
Well, I'm going to wait this time, Johnny, because with Walter, you just can never be sure. He always knows exactly where the marker is, too. Just a small fraction of his enormous talent is that knowing precisely where he has to get to. McNeil and Knopf made the defensive play, and it could be a big one if they stopped him short. And it looks like they did. It is 4th and a little more than a yard to go. And the Viking fans applaud their defense. 1:52 on the clock, and they'll have the ball back.
You think the Vikings might be going for the punt block? They're all up there. We'll see what happens.
Parsons at his own 5. Short kick. Edwards at his own 45 to the 49. Good tackle there. That was Bashnagel, number 84, stopping Edwards from going any farther. He has been a terror on kick returns today. But the Vikings have the ball at midfield, 1:43 to play. 27-23. They need a touchdown, obviously, and they have an opportunity to score it.
That extra point that was missed has such a bearing on this game. They were in good field position to set up a field goal, but as you said, they got to get more than that.
Kramer wants to throw. Ricky Young is open. Tackled by Muckensturm. Short of the first down yardage. Hurry up offense for the Vikings. He picked up about 9. They're at the Bears 41. Kramer to Young again. Good catch. A low ball. He has the first down. 1:16 on the clock.
They're really into the 2-minute offense now. That's 3 plays.
Ted Brown away from Campbell. Inside the 30-yard line.
This would probably be a time to call timeout to regroup, but they're going with their 4th straight play.
Phipps pulled him down. 2nd and 2. Kramer lots of time. Complete to Tucker. What a hit he took from Muckensturm, but he held on. Timeout at the 17 of the Bears. 37 seconds remaining. Timeout called by Minnesota. Tucker getting up slowly. Well, he coughed one up earlier on what was a bad play. Here, well, the scoreboard story is there in front of you. 37 seconds remains. Tommy Kramer doing a job in this drive. He's now 17 for 38, 201 yards. Had problems in the first half and had a lot of receiver drops. Now he's got it going here where they have a chance to win this football game in the final seconds. First down at the 17-yard line. He had an excellent catch from Ricky Young. He had a fine catch and a particularly good hold by Tucker, who took a great shot from Muckenstern and has gone to the sideline. Stu Boyd is in at tight end. Wide right is Rashad. Left is Sammy White. Kramer, complete. Ricky Young to the 5-yard line. Pulled down by Doug Buffone, number 55, and timeout called with 28 seconds on the clock.
Well, they took the timeout. Now they have none left.
First and goal at the 5-yard line of the Chicago Bears. The Vikings trail by 4. Ed Brown on first and goal from the 5. They've got 3 receivers in. Rolling is Kramer. He's got pressure. Hampton got him the pass. Incomplete. Dan Hampton had the pressure on. He tried to get it to Stu Boyd. That was a remarkable effort by Kramer to get the pass off at all.
It certainly was. What a great effort to get that ball downfield. And possibly if there had been nobody around, they might have called him for intentionally grounding the pass because he was being spun around and threw the ball off. We have 23 seconds. The down situation is not critical. It's only second down.
Foreman and Young are now back in as the setback. Stu Boyd goes out to Ted Brown. Split backs. Rashad wide left, White right.
Blitz!
Kramer for Ricky Young. Incomplete. Got one hand on the low throw as the Bears came pouring in. Page and Osborne pressuring Kramer.
Actually, it's probably better off for the Vikings that he didn't hang on to that ball because they would have had a first down on the 1 or 2 with no timeouts and have to rush up there and try and get a play over. So what they've got now is 2 downs. They've got to throw into the end zone for their chance to win this ball game.
He was not in the end zone, and that is an excellent point, John. 18 seconds remain. Third and goal from the 5. They need the touchdown to win it.
Blitz again.
Ricky Young, touchdown! Ricky Young held on to that ball with 2 Bears on it. James and Livers both popped him, and Ricky Young held on to that football. 13 seconds to go, and the Vikings are in front.
And Ricky Young's 10th pass reception of this play here. He rolls out, brings it back out on the other side, and he did a good job of hanging on. They really clobbered him. Livers really laid the wood to him. Ricky Young hung onto the ball. An amazing comeback by the Minnesota Vikings. They went down the field when they had to. As we take another look, he gets 2 times, but hangs onto the ball. The Vikings are ahead 29-27 with 13 seconds to play.
Denmeyer will attempt the point after. This one is good. 30-27, the Vikings, who had trailed by 10 points here in the 4th quarter, have come back to take the lead with only 13 seconds to go. 51 yards and 8 plays for the score.
What a great, I keep saying great victory. It's not over yet, but it looks pretty dim for the Chicago Bears. And if somebody had told me they would score 57 points, the Bears and the Vikings, in the NFC Central Division, I would have told them they're crazy. But they have scored 57.
Well, our game today, with all of its excitement, orchestrated and produced by Tom O'Neill. Directed by Duke Struck. Associate producer, John Rabeski. Engineers in charge, Dick Shapiro from Chicago, Joe Tier from New York. Technical director, Mike Finella. Good sounds from Bob Siderman. We thank our entire technical crew today, all of our camera operators and videotape people and Vidafont people, everybody did a great job as always.
And Tim, the Vikings have a decision to make here. If they kick the ball downfield, the Bears would have that chance. You never know. You get a man running with the ball, they could break it, or they could do the squibber kick and give the Bears much better field position because they will get one play off.
Ricky Watts, the speedy wide receiver, is the deep man for the Bears. Number 80 standing at the 2-yard line. Will they go that far with it? McClendon and Schmidt are the up men. Dan Meyer lets a big one go. It was McClendon and Bashnagel. It's dropped by Watts at the 10. Away from one tackle. Out of bounds. Forced out by Studwell. 5 seconds to go.
I think the Vikings might have a one-man rush and 10 men down the field, Tim, on this last play. Line them up on every 5-yard marker down the field to make sure the Bears don't get some kind of an alley-oop or something, because this is a situation where you try and throw it down and hope for some kind of a break, but it looks dire for Chicago.
What a great rivalry these two teams have had. The series record, a close one, 19-15 and 2 in favor of the Vikings. Every game they have is a battle. And they had another one here today. The Bears were behind early. They went ahead at the half. They went ahead by 10 in the 4th period.
There they go. There go the Vikings back to the other end zone.
And they got a lot of receivers lined up. Phipps tries to find one. He's got one. Out of bounds. Bashnagel, but time has expired. And the Minnesota Vikings, with a stirring comeback, have defeated the Chicago Bears 30-27 and have pulled even at 4 wins and 4 losses in the Central Division. This is Tim Ryan for Johnny Morris saying goodbye from Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota. Next Saturday on the CBS Sports Spectacular, it's boxing when 2 light heavyweights James Scott and Jerry Celestine meet inside the Rahway Prison. And then more of the...
End of the turn.